should. Yes, I think I see fantastic faces. All belonging to my players who tried to essentially break me in the first few moments before we even started a game. So hello there, everyone who is tuning in, and folks who will be joining in through VODs at a later time. Welcome to the party, specifically the Aerowen campaign of playing through the Monty Cook Games Numenera system in a homebrew setting in a world called Aerowen of my own design. Here with the all BIMPOC crew, we're going to be going through this and hopefully being entertaining, fun, and if nothing else, I can promise you most assuredly my players will do something to make me break into a fit of laughter at some point, because this is how all of our games go. If you don't assume you're going to get a food description or me breaking into a fit of giggles, I really haven't sold a session for you very well. But so, to that end, let's get into the housekeeping stuff and give a quick little rundown of all the folks who help keep the lights on here, as I believe Simon was referred to on several an occasion. So let me just do a dangle sponsors, not sponsors, not sponsors. So, yes, sure, all players try and break their GM. It is written into the rules as if decreed by the Almighty themselves. So, first, thank you to Tabletop Loot, amazing dice sponsor. Feel free to use the code WTTPDICE to get 15% off your next purchase to get more of the clickety-clack and the roly-rollies. So, that. Secondly, the ever-amazing and wonderful, and I've heard mischievous, Maddie and his amazing merch shop over at So Nerdware. The sole provider, welcome to the party merch. Head over to www.sonerdware.com and use the code WELCOME at checkout to get 10% off your next purchase. So Nerdware, it's what the nerds wear. In addition to that, we are proudly sponsored as a channel by Roll20, the virtual tabletop that runs straight out of your web browser. Everything you need to play with friends is ready at the click of a mouse, from click-to-roll character sheets to built-in video and voice chat. You can even upload your own maps and tokens. I've done it a bunch of times. Very simple, pretty easy. Get all that and more with a free basic account at roll20.net. Sign up now at roll20.net/start/WTTP. And last but not least, the Mistress of Maps, the provider of the best cartographical content on the web, Devin Rue, who has proudly supported the channel since the beginning. And if you would like to catch more of her amazing, as I said before, cartographical content, check out rooteinc.com. So, sponsors out of the way. For folks who want to spread the support, spread the love around, and just see more faces like myself, like Simon on Wednesdays, and just in general more folks of color, more BIMPOC players, more LGBTQ players and creators on these streams, why not support our Patreon? It not only goes to support the channel, but also the people who support it, and it helps us keep things going over here. Check us out at patreon.com/welcomepartyrpg. And if you would like to get involved with amazing people like ourselves, and sometimes my players, feel free to tune in to our Discord and join, where we have various kinds of channels for various kinds of serious memeing, serious conversations, memeing, and the feels. Always with the feels. This is constant throughout the work that we do. So, before we get right into the game and pick up where we last left off a couple weeks ago, as it's been a little while since we've gotten to get into this, I'm going to let each of my players introduce themselves as their little sentence, who they are, and just who you're playing in this system of Numenera. And hello there, Magnum. It's lovely to see you. Haven't seen you since I did a one-shot with you. Thanks for stopping by. So we're going to go in the order that I have on my overlay here. My personal Zoom overlay. So we're going to go with Kupo.
Lord, I'm not used to being first.
I know. This is what y'all get for trying to break me and saying silly things at the beginning. Joy pressure.
Well, hello. I am Kupo Knight. But tonight, I will be playing Hanan de la Vega, who is a nurturing nano who possesses a shard of the sun.
Crafter, delver, and just general shiny electronic tinker extraordinaire. Noah, please introduce your character you're playing.
Yeah, my name is Noah. I'm playing as Craven the Mechanical Rice, who talks to machine and definitely isn't crazy. He's pretty much craving for food right now, which is what we're about to get probably later. Maybe, if we're surprised. I don't know.
We shall see. Next up, Brown.
Hello, I'm Bram, or Defiatos, and I will be playing Aerowen Raditya Nagahari, a intelligent nano who crafts illusions.
A walking wiki links. A wiki. I was gonna say WikiLeaks. I'm like, no, those are two very different things. Very, very different things. That's my bad.
Yeah.
Moving over to Simon.
Hello, my name is Simon. You can find me on Twitter at Lucha Libris, and today I am playing Nepalzine. He is a rugged glaive who lives in the wilderness.
And last but not least, Sunsilt.
Hello, I am Excuse me. Hello, I am Sansil, and I'm playing Harun Musafir, a clever jack who fights with panache.
Excellent. So, that we not delay the inevitable of what may be happening in just a few moments, let's do a very quick recap. Our party, who has been part of one of the first groups to ever venture out past the northern limits and the fog walls which surround the floating island world of Aerowen, where the four base elements have crafted and structured much of the nature and design of this world. The party has journeyed forward as one of the first groups to adventure out beyond these borders, as a section of the fog wall, which has formed the borders of this world, parted. Going through this wall, they found themselves journeying down below to the grounds below that many people have not seen in many a year, stumbling upon a forgotten temple in which they discovered all manner of gruesome nasties, deep revelations about the structure of the previous world that came before them, and their own connections to past, present, perhaps the future of what may happen to Aerowen in times to come. Having last left off, deciding not to quite leave the temple as of yet, but instead to go and take another quick look around some of the other rooms, they found themselves in a essentially sand artwork room in which, through a variety of maneuvers, both acrobatic, loud, and occasionally harmonious, but more often than not dissonant utterances, found a way to manipulate water nanotechnology within this an urn which held the water and the various sand paintings to summon a Solaran, one of two main peoples tasked with structuring and looking over the archives which this temple served as. Learning more about history, about the nature of how people in the previous world understood and thought about structuring the future, the party ended with hearing a loud noise as a rather large wolf-sized creature with a frill of gem-like protrusions coming out from around its long extended neck and very large bulbous piercing black orbal eyes just stared at the group. Oh god, yes, and before I continue on, I must note that there is a party of Mughals currently joining us in the chat, which is all Jem's doing, or should I say Hanan's doing. Thank you, Kupo, for inviting this chaotic mess of Mughals. This is your brand. But so, we jump back in to this moment as the party, through the hallway entryway they came into this room, they're seeing one massive version of this particular creature and two smaller ones. As the creatures are coming in, though, there's what at first seems like a kind of tiger roaming around a caged creature sort of movement. But the movements seem occasionally almost predictive. They almost seem like they're about to make a step and then they stop and they make a step somewhere else. Like they're aware, almost as though they're aware that that's a bad call to go a certain step. It's very strange. And this keeps happening for it's more pronounced than the bigger one, but the smaller ones, they just occasionally they're just like They look like they're a little frazzled. And like they keep something's bothering them that they don't quite understand. But as the creatures have roamed into the room, my players, I must ask, as I always do, what do you do?
These creatures don't necessarily have harmful intent, right?
It seemed like it from the yell they let out initially, but now they look like they're just like they're
Patrolling or whatever.
yeah, like they're
Yeah.
almost they're just now wandering around at this moment. And again, there's just this weirdness to them that they seem to like start going in a direction and then they immediately backpedal and then they start going towards another direction.
So I, out of game, assume that they are programmed to do something, but Nepalzin doesn't understand Numenera. In fact, he's got an inability in understanding how these things work, how ciphers and Numenera and all this tech stuff works. He's lived in the jungles of Hydros his entire life. So I would like to attempt a action to identify if these creatures are similar to something he's already encountered before, and then to try and figure out what their pattern is like, if they're organic creatures or if they're like shadowy reflections like the ones that we saw in the Shadow Archives.
You're trying to essentially determine intent and nature of these based off of memory.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha. I will put
memory and observation.
Memory and observation. That's a good clarification. So, I will tell you. Let me see. Well, not tell you. I have to figure out where's the name for this damn creature. Because I have it. There it is. I knew it was a time-related name somewhere in here. I will put that. This is not a creature that many people have seen in at least this particular incarnation. So I'm going to say that's an intellect of difficulty 4.
Okay.
So it's a bit tricky to try and determine what it is.
Yeah. I've got training in identifying animals because I do live in the wilderness.
So that will help
that's
you. That will lower it to a 3.
Yep. And then I think I will spend a level of effort to make that a little easier, because he's curious about what this whole thing's deal is.
Okay, so that'll lower it for overall difficulty to 2.
Yep.
So
So
2
I've reduced my intellect
task.
pool,
Yep.
and I am
we-
going to roll this. It's a difficulty 4,
See,
which should
then-
automatically calculate both my skill and the level of effort that I've put in.
it should.
And bam, got a 19.
Aha! That is good. So you get. So for folks who are joining us in, if you've never played Numenera, when Paulzine gets, or rather Simon as a player gets with a minor effect, it happens on a 19. So if you were trying to make some sort of aggressive action, you could do a little bit more damage to it. Or you get a minor effect of your choosing. Now, you primarily were looking for something information-based. Now, would you want it to be more about its intent or about its nature? I'll give you that sort of option between the two. Because I'm going to give you some information base about it, but
Yeah.
do you want more about its intent or more about its nature, just what it can do?
I, as a player, would like to know more about its nature. Nepalzine as a character, because he is so anxious about protecting everyone, I think cares more about its intent.
Okay,
So let's go with intent.
okay, so the baseline I will give you for this creature, this is without anything else, is that this is what's called a Tachyron. You've only ever heard of these occasionally cropping up in Hydros, usually near the end of autumn, or whatever might constitute autumn in this kind of world, where they almost seem to coalesce with moments of great change, and they typically hunt in small packs, hence the younger ones that are with it. They're often have a very strange sense of perception about everything, because as you're taking the time to reflect on this creature, it's moving a little bit closer to the party, but you're noticing its eyes that are pure orbs of black just occasionally will do a full blink. So it's not like just ours where you're just kind of seeing part of the eye do a blink. It's like the whole eye has like if you shone light on it and if it was refracting it. The tidbit you get for its intent is it is not hostile towards you right now. Something.
Right. Okay.
It seems it's bothered by the noise that was created. And it also looks like it's searching for something.
Mm.
But the other tidbit I'll give you, because again, you rolled so high, you don't know the exact details, but there's something about them that it's almost like they have an uncanny sense of a few seconds in the future.
Mm.
They almost always have this predictive sense about what's about to happen. But they don't.
Okay.
But you don't know whether that means they can always act on it, or
Right.
if they're like hallucinating all the time, essentially, with all that information. You do know that that's an element of their nature, but you don't know what it means for
Okay.
their abilities overall.
So it's not like this is something that the tower is doing to them. It's just like this is part of what they are.
Yes, this is just
Yeah,
something
okay.
that's part of them. You've never seen ones with the sort of gem crusted sort of frills. Normally it's strands of hair that you've seen in Hydros variants. But considering a lot of things around here have had gem stuff,
Had the gem stuff. Yeah.
it might be just a variant specific to the temple.
Sweet. So Nepalzin takes that info and he's like, I think that scene in the Lost World where they stumble upon the Stegosauruses for the first time, and everyone's like kind of nervously approaching. Nepalzin's kind of standing there with his like hand over, trying to stop people from moving any further in, and he turns back and like in a stage whisper tells everyone like, Tachyrons, they're looking for something. They could be looking for food or hunting something. I'm not entirely sure. They're definitely agitated. I think the sound bothered them. As long as we stay out of their way and we don't get too noisy, we should be able to get past them without causing any problems. The tricky thing about these things is that they're sort of unstuck in time. They can kind of see a little bit ahead. They can use that to sort of predict their motions. You know, if they see their prey starting to move, they can course correct a little bit. That's why they move kind of jittery. But there's something wrong about these ones. They've been changed like everything else. Remember the creatures that attacked us when we went into the cave? Those gems, those aren't natural. The crystal formations. I don't like what the tower is doing to these things.
So there's potential that they have been formed to sort of either defend or hang out around the tower. Could that be a thing?
Maybe. They could be drawn in here, or they could have been lashed here by the Eighth World, people in the Eighth World. But that doesn't seem like them. Everything that we've seen so far shows that they were interested in living symbiotically with everything, seeing the light and the shadow. Maybe they brought them here as guards or something. I don't know. We should be careful, though.
One's starting
Maybe it
to
has-
sniff closer to the party.
Maybe it has to do with how the Eighth World ended.
Well, we'd better try and survive long enough to find out if that's true.
I have an idea.
Okay, so the crystal in these creatures are unnatural, is what you're saying?
I don't know where they've come from, but yeah, that's supposed to be. There's usually a dewlap of fur that comes along the edges here. But you remember those creatures that came and stalked along the ceiling? Those things were made of crystals as well.
Well, whatever we will take your lead on this, Nepalzin. Whatever you decide.
I think
Aren't
we
you-
try and get around it.
Aren't you
What?
curious about the crystal though? Because I'm pretty sure I am. Those things could have something in it. It's not like we know what those crystals do to them. Or maybe we do. Or maybe I don't.
But wouldn't that involve hurting them, or we don't we do not know what these creatures are, or
Well, they're predators. They'll defend their territory if it comes down to it. They won't hunt us now, but if we become a threat, they won't be afraid to take our throats out.
Think they'll allow us to touch their crystals?
I doubt that.
I mean, like, come on. They look like they're out of character. Does Poppy exist in this world?
Puppies exist. I will note, in terms of size of the big one's about 10 to 12 feet end to end. The other ones are about 7, 8 foot end to end. The smaller ones are 7 to 8. So they're still all significantly bigger than you. The smaller ones do look a little bit like they look woven, but they have the sort of crystal frills around the neck and the giant eyes. Just
Like Reaver and Scrapper size in Horizon Zero Dawn terms.
Oh my god.
Ah.
Like kind of
Yeah.
Sabretooth size versus like
wave of
big
understanding
dog.
slowly washes over.
yes, it all comes back to me.
Just like
Okay.
if someone makes a
Not
Monster
Not
Hunter
made of machines.
if someone
They're
makes a
not
Monster
robots.
Hunter reference, the other half of the party will get it.
Yeah,
Okay, for this group. So you remember
this one's a
Horizon Dawn?
Jagras.
The other one. So remember this? You remember this in Monster Hunter? Okay. It's like, hey, I don't even need to do any work over here.
Still, Craven is like, they're just big, giant puppy. You never know until you rub their tummy and see them rolls around. So isn't that what puppies do?
See one
At least
take a
in-
bite out of a
Raven?
column nearby.
I don't know what puppies you've seen, but there are some bad dogs out there.
Raven. Pointing at the big one. That's not a puppy.
That's a puppy. That's just a big puppy. That's a big boof.
What part
Back
of the
in
world are you
Fortnite.
from where puppies are that size?
I don't
You
know,
know,
kind of.
in
Don't
which
mind me.
part of your world is a bird can get that as big as the ones we're riding. I mean, come on, we see big animals all the time. This ain't surprising.
What's behind us?
I mean, they're okay.
Great question.
So the Solaran came up in the middle of the sand pit. There is
Yes.
no other exit out if you're still heading northward, because you all just went straight in order to get to this spot.
Right.
Really, the only exit is the hallway behind you, where these creatures are currently. They're not guarding it; they're just to the side of it. So you could, if you tried, like I'm not telling you the way you could deal with the situation. I'm just telling you one option is you could just try and sneak by them.
Right. No, I'm
I mean,
just
that's
trying
my
to.
plan.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to orient myself in my head a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
so we're here and they're here. What's here?
right.
So that if we have to run this way, we're not running into
A wall.
a wall or maybe something bigger.
Also, I must note just because Magnum is killing me at the chat, that's not a puppy, it's a battle station. God damn it, Magnum.
Okay, I got an idea.
Okay.
Why don't we toss some food over away from the entrance and see if they go for that?
Oh, we're not gonna expect the puppies. I'm okay with having pets if they are tameable.
Can I put up a wall? Just temporarily? Not
Ooh.
really a wall? But
Maybe that'll work. They sort of see things in the future, but I don't know how complex that the mind is that it'll be able to perceive what an illusion is.
Perhaps. I can certainly give it a shot, and I'm just gonna. It's a 10-foot cube, so I'm just gonna fill the space and get as wide as I can with that 10-foot cube, and it's like just 10 foot by 10 foot. Well, not 10 foot by 10 foot by 10, but like a couple feet, and then 10 foot, 10 foot. Hopefully, it fills up the entire hallway with a wall of a really bright colored mural.
You don't see me.
No, actually, I'm gonna use those same. Actually, no, it's gonna be the same wall that I see next to me, and I'm just gonna like extend it out in front of me.
So you basically you're doing the what is it, the minor illusion thing where you can make a 5-foot box. I'm tiny enough where I can make a box around me. I love this.
Well, I was thinking about like just making it just like in front of us,
Oh, okay, I got you.
like so they can't see us.
So they can't see you. Gotcha. Okay.
But also if I can't get it wide enough, I will essentially then see like everybody huddle in real close.
Yes. Okay, so Adawan has done that.
Okay. I'm gonna take a tentative step back, but I can't be too far away from it.
Are we all behind Ottawa?
I mean, are you? I haven't been
I am.
making calls.
I'm
I
like-
am just like,
Grabbing Ottawan's shoulders and like peering around.
yeah,
it.
I'm on the other side, just going like, just
Yeah.
as we navigate, help him
Because-
navigate.
Because I have
Yes,
to be
go-
in immediate range for the wall to stay there.
Okay,
Yes,
are you
go ahead and do that.
are you
So
all
I'm at the
doing that?
front.
Are you all following Ottawa with this?
Yeah, I mean, you just go
Okay.
ahead and do
Otto's
that.
like, yeah.
Everyone's just
Ottawa.
standing there.
This
Like,
is
what the fuck are you guys doing?
Crave is just like, what the fuck are you all doing?
For once, am I not the crazy one, or are you just a paranoid one here?
Hey, Craven, come over here. We got a plan. Ottowan's got a plan, and we're following it.
Tell me the plan
Really?
first.
Ottawa?
I have a plan?
What's the plan?
Ottawa.
Yes.
I would
Yes.
like you to roll me. Let's see. This is
Oh, no.
deception. This is also kind of perception as well.
Y'all gonna get mauled.
It's perception for the creature. It's deception for you. I'll let you pick between either of those. Level 10 difficulty.
I don't know if let's see. Level 10. Okay, let me see if I can even.
The funny
Okay.
thing
Do you
is, I'm
even
not.
have
I
enough
haven't
effort
tweaked.
to even do that.
I
That's-
haven't tweaked this thing's stats or anything. This is just part of what's written in the book.
1 second.
I'm gonna look at this
yeah,
up
that's-
later, because dang.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Full transparency. Tachyron modifications perception initiative at level 10. It's
let me
just
Dang.
just a thing.
Let's-
It sees
Yeah.
into time. It has gone.
We don't
to
have to
percep-
fight it. It's just there. It's
9.
Yeah.
I don't have anything that's specially trained.
Magnum has
in
the
terms
right
of-
attitude. Don't worry. It's just an impossible task.
Could
It's only
Could we
impossible. It's
contribute?
fine.
could we contribute to this and help out? with
Yes.
the
Up
deception?
to, you could add 2 assets from
Oh, please.
allies, which would put you down to 7. Which you still need a
7.
21 to get there. So someone else
Well,
has to come up with something.
Actually, I can because I will say I did put in that I can get an extra put in an extra level of effort, so I can put in that to a 6.
So
Technically, it's possible if I drop 2 points of effort into it and I roll an 18 or better.
it's
I
your
like those
call.
odds.
It's your call.
Those are odds to live by.
You know what? I got XP to burn.
Also, bear in mind, as a reminder, because this is something that doesn't come up very much, in regards to your XP, you can also spend 2 for a short-term benefit or 3 for a long-term benefit, which,
Huh.
and also
Right,
1
yes.
for a reroll. Don't forget that you have that
Yeah.
option. Because you will all at this point have a lot of XP unless you've spent it on advancements.
Let's see. So
So-
that's 6. 6. I'm trying to think if there's anything, any benefits of, can't think of one really that makes narrative sense with what I.
Go weird. I'm open to
alright.
weird.
Okay. So they've been seeing. Okay, this is might be okay. Would it be? So I've throughout this whole time, like we've been in this temple. I have been like seeing these seeing first we've had these like with Lagaya and the weird time dilation and also seeing these individuals, especially that Solaran, physically interact with my illusions, and just trying to study and learn, seeing what is it, study and learning from all that. I've been trying to just what does this mean, and just trying to synthesize all of that while we've been traveling. Perhaps there's some sort of Numenera residue on my illusions still for some reason. Like that can still stick to my illusions for some reason. That's weird. That makes everything actually seem a little bit more real to individuals that originate from this temple, hoping that these creatures are also from this temple.
Okay, I would allow that to go through. That'll get your difficulty down to a 5.
Okay, if I could use that, I guess I'm putting that as a, will I call that as a long-term benefit?
I'll say it's a
Alright.
long-term benefit for as
Okay.
long as you are here in any capacity
Cool.
interacting with things in the temple. We'll say it's a collectivized set of knowledge that you've gained from interacting with things here. Partially because I also am enjoying the fact you're just like, something.
It's
But-
weird.
So that's 5.
Yeah.
Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, let's go. Okay,
This-
so I
this,
just need
this may determine a couple of things.
Let's go. Let's go here. Into like roll input. Let's just. I'm just gonna hit difficulty 5 because that's
Yeah.
go and just submit.
Give it a shot.
Submit.
Oh my god!
What the heck?
I got
Get
XP
out.
to
I
burn.
mean,
Okay, if anyone is watching this, clip
okay.
that shit right now. Clip that. Because that is.
Okay.
I was like, this is an impossible task. This is a nearly impossible task. Like, you're barely. Like, this shouldn't
Thought.
work.
How
You
dare
were
you
not.
underestimate the
I
power
underestimated-
within Ottawa?
It
So,
was like, hey, I'm
real.
rubbing up on you.
so. Yeah, we're gonna say it definitely succeeds, and you're welcome to add an additional effect. Because I'm gonna give you one additional bit of information free for that you notice
Okay.
and no one else does because you're focusing on this, and everyone's just doing one of these, trying to cower behind you a little bit. But if there's any additional effect you would like to add on, narratively or what have you, to the illusion working,
Right.
think big.
Yes.
Big brain, man.
I wonder, like,
Galaxy brain.
as it forms, not only just visually, as it forms, like coming out of the walls, the sides of the walls, and colliding into, like, closing up in front of it. I wonder if just because of the nature of this weird time temple and it sort of sticking, like, having influence and synthesis over my illusions for a moment, and through the synthesis of all this knowledge, that it sort of messes with their ability to see, like, as they try and see beyond, like, okay, as they're looking into the future of this illusory wall, they're having trouble trying to figure it out. Like, there's
They
a
get
weird
lost
disruptive.
in which part of time to actually think about.
Yes, because this is an illusion that has been synthesized with knowledge of this very old ancient 8th world temple. So it's like they're getting, this is 8th world. No wait, 9th world. No wait, what world? Maybe?
So,
Some sort of this, yeah.
here's what happens. The wall comes up, and strangely, there's additional components to it that you don't quite recognize the make and design of some of it. It just seems to take on aspects, and the creature just, the bigger one, just sort of goes. And Ottawa, you notice from the hallway you all might have wanted to lead out of, you notice something the rest don't because they've been behind you, and you turn around as these things are starting to move away from it and they're just like confused. You notice there are 4 other little creatures that look that look like imagine giant rats with
That make all of the rules?
oh
Don't worry about that.
Splinter?
That's an internet deep cut.
god damn it There's rats with somewhat translucent. They appear translucent, but are also leathery in appearance wings, and they look like they have a long, extended kind of snout that then just pulls back a little bit, and you see a long set of teeth.
Oh.
Oh, word?
Word? What's up, man? Like,
So if you don't
What's
see,
good,
so,
boy?
So if the rest of you don't see this, all you hear from Aerowen is Aerowen's like peering and focusing. You just hear like, oh.
But
Just
Craven's
very
turn.
quiet.
here's the thing.
I want Craven to turn around to Adam and is like, "What? Did you find a new puppy finally? Another scaredy puppy?"
Now, these things aren't as big as the other creatures, and the creatures, in their disorientation, just start, all three of them start charging at these smaller creatures. Because they're so disoriented, they think those things are causing them to get
Okay.
messed up with their perception of time.
Okay. So I'm just gonna quickly turn around and go. Okay, so there's another group of creatures.
Oh,
What?
other group?
There's
right.
another group, but they look like they're about to start fighting.
Oh,
Well,
good. We can
this-
pit the two of them
this
against
is-
each other.
This is
Let's
good,
watch.
yes?
Yeah,
and
let's
then-
watch.
Or we could run.
I don't know. I want to watch. I want to see which one of them wins. We can bet
I mean,
on it.
the
problem is
it's all very interesting, but I don't.
Do you want to videotape this? Put it on your archive? I mean, come
Harun,
on. What
Harun,
was
please,
fun?
please tell
Or the
Craven that this
name
is...
of
Craven, Craven,
science,
Craven, Craven,
Aerowen.
Craven,
The
Craven,
name of
Craven,
science. I thought you
Craven.
would understand this. You're a
Craven, Craven.
for once be a scientist, not a nerd like
Craven.
me.
Craven. So while Craven is doing this, and before Haroon can say anything, you just start hearing loud ripping noises.
That does not sound good.
Yes.
Just gonna go peer.
Yeah, they. By the way, they're not that far away from you. Like, I know y'all are like kind of hiding behind Ottawa. They're only at max like 30 feet away down the hallway from you. But you do see the bigger ones are like pretty quickly making short work of the smaller ones. And I will say for Haroon and Nopalzine, you two take notice the most since everyone else is arguing and or like trying to think about this. But I'd
Walk
say
faster! Must walk faster!
there is one leftover body of one of these creatures. It looks pretty sizable, and you could get a good amount of meat out of it.
Of
Of the smaller creatures, the bigger ones are still alive, and they look like they're busy, just like
Ooh, food
chomping
though.
on the other ones.
Okay, so the
food
guy-
is an issue.
so the diamond
Food
wolves
though.
are still alive, and the cloudy witch hands meatball birds are getting
Yes, as Magnum has so helpfully pointed out, the rodents of unusual size are mostly eaten at this point. There's one sizable one, probably the biggest one. It seemed like the mother Tachyron wanted to make sure the babies were being fed first before it went for anything. But
which is,
that one is currently consuming one of the four that were left behind. There's one behind them, and the three of them are just sort of just munching on things. But its body is over here, like some way. I'm just telling you, that's what you see right now.
everybody, fight's over. Time to go.
Oh, that easy? I mean, come on. That's not even fun. Boo! Boo!
Craven,
I tell you.
Craven, run and complain at the same time.
I think Falson's gonna like do the like paratrooper jump captain thing where like you stand at the entrance and you time everyone out of like, okay, you run, go that way, 5 seconds. Okay, now you go. Now you go.
Yeah.
To try and
I-
get everyone like out into safety as fast as possible.
I will be the last one because the moment I run, the wall drops.
That's true.
Oh, that's right. So he's second
Oh,
to
yeah.
I'm second to last, and then it's Ottawa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm turned to last because I'd like to imagine the like Craven. He's so grumpy. He's like he wanted to run, you have to carry me. Just cross his arms, turn his little ball, just carry me.
Fingers can I cross? This is
think
just the Wu-Tang.
all we would like to declare as part of the Aerowen National Service, Nopalzing is not someone to fuck with.
It's true. Wu-Tang is huge. He could be in there. You don't know.
There's a Wu-Tang artifact, and it is all
God,
powerful.
please.
You can carry me like a football with your arms.
Just imagining nanotech. It's like a pink jelly-like substance, and it's just called cream, and it's in it, but it has like an actual like description for
Ciphers
it.
rule everything around me.
I was gonna struggle to come up with something, but you solved the problem.
I got you,
Thank
fam.
very much.
There you go.
But so, I would like everyone. This is a stealth roll, just to determine.
Stealth. A skill I am not trained in.
Ooh, would lies and trickery be part of stealth?
Yes, I will say if you can incorporate how you might distract these creatures, I will let you use it.
Standard Far Cry method. Gonna take a rock, gonna throw it against the wall. That's a good distance away.
Okay, I'll let it go through. This I'm gonna put it at a difficulty of 4. It would normally be difficulty of 5, but they are currently distracted, so I'm treating that as an asset towards all of you that they are currently like. And let me double check the description on this thing to see it's.
Nice.
Oh yes. Weird sensory organs like that. Ah yes. By the way, I should note. Jaw size and shape, we're talking like hippo, like in terms of not actual the same size as an actual hippo, but like think
I was
more
gonna
wolf.
say.
I'm just more like the shape, not like
Okay.
size
These are
design.
bigger
is-
than I was led to believe.
No, it's not as big as a hippo because for anyone who's ever seen a hippo open its mouth, it is terrifying.
Oh, it is terrifying.
That is the stuff of nightmares.
Hippos are dangerous motherfuckers.
Hippos, like, people are like, oh, hippos are so cute and everything, aren't
No,
they?
no,
It's like,
no.
no. Have you ever seen a hippo eat a watermelon? It's
Yeah,
terrifying. It goes in like half a second. But
Yeah.
we're gonna. What is? This might just be me. Apologies for that. I thought the stream is having some problems. But let's go on and check that. Yeah, that's. Woof. Ooh boy, that's a success on your two main people, and your the himbos.
Okay.
Now, if you can think of something else,
I would like to try and distract these creatures by using like maybe picking up some sizable like debris on the ground and use my illuminating touch to light it and then chucking it, and that maybe the light will distract them.
okay, the distraction alone would have given you 1. I'll treat that as 2 towards it, because there's a difference between, oh, I hear a loud rock versus I hear a loud rock and suddenly I cannot.
And it's shiny. Okay.
The light of the covenant. It's so bright.
It is so bright. Oh god. Okay.
Thank you, outsider people who are yelling randomly. They're
Gotta love it.
cheering for all of you. They're hoping that Anon can do this, but yeah, Craven, Ottawan, it's right now it's difficulty 4 unless you do something to try and make it easier.
Okay. Actually, I messed up. Do I put the stuff in the bonus? I keep forgetting what.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah, if you have training, if you're clicking on one of your skills, it'll automatically apply
that's
the
right.
skill to reduce the difficulty. And then, if you apply a level of effort, you can choose how much effort,
Yeah.
and then
that's
remove
right.
that value from the stat after the fact.
Let me see.
Otherwise, you would, if you like reduced it by 1 for effort, and so you dropped it from a 4 to a 3, and then clicked on the effort, it would go down to like a 2, which is
Oh,
just
okay.
all wrong.
Well, that's the.
Usually, it just as long as the dice roll, you know what the dice roll is. Like ultimately, it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
Okay. So difficulty is 4, but
Yeah, and then Ottawa and Craven. I think Craven had something that he wanted to say.
So I'm the last one to go, technically, right? Or
Uh,
is it still?
I think so. Unless it's more like whichever one of you has something to add, because this will all resolve depending on what the successes are. That will kind of determine what narratively is happening.
Well, see, after everyone before, Aerowen, because Aerowen the last, Craven's gonna be like, he's gonna reach into his bags and be like, oh yeah, I got this thing. Let's see if I can get a fight out of this. And then he projects the image projector that he pulled out of the thing there.
Ooh.
Remember?
Oh, that's true. The clicker. Oh, the image projector of the clicker. I almost forgot you had that. The creature that was made of sound.
The boomer.
Yeah, that you got. Damn it. It's gonna kill me every time I remember you referred to old tech as boomer. But yeah, that I will say, if you're using that, that will count as something to help out everyone else. Because the other folks, if they hadn't passed it, this would have lowered their difficulty for the roll. But for Adawan and Hanan, that will count as an asset for you. And obviously for Craven, that'll make it easier. So your 4 will go down to a 3.
Sorry, I'm still having a hard time inputting this stuff. Hold on.
No worries.
Yeah.
4.
Sometimes it's a little finicky.
Putting 1. No assets. Cost was 1. Did I do that right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
But I succeeded. Huzzah.
Hell yeah.
Woo.
Craven's like just like
There we go.
shaking that image
Yeet.
projector.
Yeah, because it was
like,
4 and then...
all right, Marilyn.
Yeah.
This is your job now, boomers. Yeet!
I love how we're all yeeting. Here's a
Rock.
rock with light.
Rock with light, rock with giant sound creature. And then
Go for there.
Ottawan's just like, must focus on wall.
Wow.
Craven is having fun.
So,
I don't know what y'all talking about.
y'all managed to get past it. I would like to offer a GM intrusion to Craven.
I'd say yes. Oh yes, please.
Craven,
I'd like to.
as you're going away, as you are one of the last people to leave, you notice that one of the small creatures, the smaller ones of the Tachyrons, it just goes, and it essentially lets go from its stomach something glowing and technological.
Ooh!
That is
And
a
then he
GM
just
intrusion I will offer, that happens.
He's going to leap out and try to grab it, because God knows you can't leave him with anything shiny around.
Okay.
He's like a raven. It's in his name.
Okay. You get it. And I will say the illumination and the clicker are still enough right now. So if you're taking the intrusion to follow up on that information, you get 1 XP. Someone else gets 1 XP.
I'll say other one because you've been a great help, buddy.
But
Thank
you do notice the creatures are starting to finish up eating the rodent. I'm just going to use Magnum's description. The rodents of unusual size, because that's basically. They have a name. They actually have a name in this. They're called Dreebles, but rodents of unusual size. Drebil.
Dreebles.
But
Do they drool?
they're normally
Or do
described
they
as
only...
like sacks of flesh that look like monstrous rats. I've tried to tone down that part. They're much worse than what I described.
No.
Can they dunk, though? If they can dribble, they can surely dunk.
Yes, they
Oh
can
my
dunk.
go.
That's
Alright, I'll see myself
Got-
that.
I don't worry, as viewers. I just need 5 minutes to move the cameras around to account for Simon going. But Craven, I'm gonna need you to do one more stealth roll for me, because
Okay.
they don't seem as distracted. You will have the illuminating touch and the clicker projection, because again, this is a terrifying sight for anyone who hasn't noticed. Because right now it's Nepalsian would probably stay back, but Haroon, Hanan, Adawan, you're probably gone. Paulzine, you're looking back and you're seeing Craven is getting closer to one of these things. There's a shiny rock, another rock, and the big giant sound creature made of amorphous deep blues and purples and black sort of like sound waves that have coalesced. Like it's that, and then the Tachyrons, who are like, they're at the part of dining equivalent of like patting your lips down with like napkins and everything. They're at that stage of eating the creature. So Craven, I need one more roll from you.
Is it a speed one?
It's going to be stealth 4, but you have the asset of the clicker, so it'll be 3. So it's stealth 3.
And I roll my speed for it, right?
Yes, it's speed 3.
Okay. Ooh!
Oh,
What is with all these special major
What is-
things going
We take
on?
2 weeks
Well-
off, y'all.
Give me those rolls. What?
Yeah,
Gotta
like
bank all the success here.
so.
I'm
And that
sacrificing.
just means it's the shit's going down in like either next session or like an hour
So,
later.
I have to go pull up my notes on this, because...
I sacrificed the boomer machine for something great.
So, Craven, if you're okay with me making this it, instead of a singular item that falls out of the stomach, or that essentially it barfs up, it's if you've ever seen ships at sea when they like make a huge net catch of fish, it's more like bundled up, like or if you've ever cooked like a kitchen bouquet of things, it's not one, what you can tell from even from the Simpsons Numenera, it's a cache of Numenera and potentially oddities.
Ooh.
Because that's a crit, I'm gonna give you more than just one.
Yeah, I like that. I would love that. Yes.
So yeah, and you are careful enough that there is a moment where you hear the big one just go and just you make your way and GTFO.
I golem my way out of there. Yeah,
just a little,
technically, yeah.
just a Scrabble. Or even the, like, I think Cannon, the smallest one of the group, just full on golems his way out of that situation, and you all make it outside, or at least to the antechamber, and you know that if you head down, there is a possibility to get through to the caverns, to the Shadow Archives.
Craven's catching up to people, and then he's just like standing in the middle of the group, holding up the bundle of Numenera. Like, shinies, guys! See? I
Where
got it!
I'm gonna use some water to clean off the vomit and digestive fluid.
Oh yeah, it's like blue, long, sticky spit, like just covering the whole thing. It's not pleasant. It's like the smell is also not. It's not great. It's not great.
Can't believe you're still alive.
I'm surprised too, always.
Craven doesn't do anything with much thought for the future put into it. Craven just does stuff and it works.
He's living in the moment, and he's always surprised that he can always survive any moment he put himself through. It's like the
Okay,
universe won't kill me if I dare it to kill me.
You were saying, Haroon?
let's, so, where to now? Because there seem to be more creatures or animals going around these grounds. Do we want to stay here? Do we want to find our mount and be on our way? How do we want to approach this, bulk?
As a reminder, you did hear from the other Solaran there was a possibility for a creature in the Shadow Archives. They did give you the information to where to find the creature. So that's one possibility out. Or you could try and go find your mount.
try to find our mount because let's keep the creatures here in the archive. Is my suggestion, so that way we don't displace anything. Because this is obviously going to be researched further, right? Hopefully.
That I believe that was the plan once we returned with all of the information. Well, the information we gathered. Uh, we were just yeah.
Okay.
I do miss the mount. I want to check if they're all right.
They'll be fine.
Mm,
I mean, there have
Optimism
been
on it.
changes since we landed.
True.
to the burb. To the burb.
Party wants to go find the burb.
I got my what I want.
I'm keeping everyone safe, so wherever anyone
he-
goes, that's
So
all
he's
Alright,
going. He's going. where he
so-
goes.
We are on bird quest.
Okay. I would like someone. This would be kind of like survival role or like animal investigation role, something akin to that. Like whatever.
Alright.
I've got training in that.
Yep. Whatever.
Could I-
I'll put it to you this way: whatever Nepalzine has training in.
I was wondering if I could assist by just going, just retracing our steps back to where we landed.
That's
if
true.
that would
You
be
did use
helpful.
the scan ability to help, so you would yes, that would provide an asset. I will say because things have shifted around, it's a difficulty 4 overall, but Ottawa is providing that asset with helping retrace things back, so it'll move it to a difficulty of 3.
Okay. I have training in navigation.
I'll move it down to a difficulty of 2.
Yeah, which I think is how he would do it. Like, not necessarily, okay, where's the creature gone, but like, well, how did we get back in?
Yeah.
We'll follow the path in my brain map.
Brain map.
Okay, so it was
Galaxy brain map.
4.
Then it moved to 3
Right.
because of the asset, and then
Right.
you're using your skill, which should automatically apply
Which will bring it
to
to
2.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to set it as a difficulty 4
But
because
you
my
have
skill
one-
will
yeah.
automatically apply.
Yeah,
and then
and
I'll put
you'll-
in a level of effort and not spend the thing. So I have a 3.
No, that should be.
Should be a success.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why it's doing that because that brought it down to a 2. Oh no, wait, because your roll is a 3. The target because the
Oh, the target number was 6, right?
Yeah.
Because it was a difficulty 2 task times 3.
so
Right.
it's been a bit of a hectic, long. Jesus, it's been a whole day or two since y'all have been traveling. Like this has been like over the course of like 1 or 2 days total. As far as your understanding of time is right now, it's been about that long. It's rough trying. Like you're hearing a lot of different noises now. Like it sounds like more of the area around it and the forest that you landed in. It's more alive and more active. And it looks as though Nepalzine, you don't find what you're looking for, but you are seeing that there are like almost like little squirrel-like creatures roaming around that look like they have along the back of their spine and their tail. It's like a little row of diamond that's forming along it. There's other small little like blue jays and little birds that look like they have sapphires and amethysts, like as
Fancy.
like little like shards around them. You see a very grumpy looking frog that looks as though it has rose quartz like right in its gut, and then when it opens up its tongue to like lash out at a fly like object nearby, it's like pure onyx.
Well, at least the wildlife is more active around here. Definitely doesn't feel as dead. Now, that being said, I don't think I like what's happening here. We have to find a Solarian or a Sombran and talk to them about this. One of the curators. Whatever happened here, everything here just changed. It's all studded with these gems. And what do they have to do with the way the tower functions? Is it a result of the whatever destroyed the 8th world? Or is it something that the tower itself is doing to them and living in the presence of it is changing them? Are we Are we gonna turn into crystals?
That'll be interesting. I'd like to take a gamble at that.
When you say that, there's this moment when Aerowen goes like, I am, uh, I am gonna essentially then start looking at myself and start examining, inspecting, and I would like to use scan.
It's like a tick
I'm
check,
going to scan
but
myself
different.
using
Yeah,
scan.
Gem
scan.
check.
Yeah.
Gem
Yeah,
check.
see if there's anything strange going on. See if I am forming crystals, and then if I'm also next to that frog, I will also scan the frog to see if there's like
Scan
if-
frog.
to see if there's
How many forms of entertainment allow you to be able to utter the phrase unprompted? I'd like to
Scan
scan
the
a frog.
So
Cool.
the LucasArts adventure game verb path is scan frog.
I mean, look, the frog has a crystal on its belly, and its entire
Oh,
tongue
yeah.
has crystals. Something has that happened. I
Something's
wouldn't-
connected there.
Yeah, I mean, like, how was it even connected to the tongue? Is it actually just a row of crystals, or is it just one big crystal, or is it like, or is there a tongue
Fleshy
that
tongue?
it's like,
Gem outer layer.
okay, are there
Well-
nerve endings into the gems? This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm scanning for.
As far as you can tell, nothing too significant like pings your radar in terms of it. It just seems to be a frog.
That has a gem embedded in it.
Yeah,
Frog.
it's there. There doesn't appear to be like there's been any sort of quote unquote like mutation or any like unnatural effect towards it. This, as far as you can tell, this might in fact actually be just a creature that's native to this place.
So I'm just gonna hold the frog in my hands. I turn to Paulson with it. It's like, so, from what I can tell, just from my brief study of this frog and the crystals, the crystals don't seem to be invasive to this creature, or perhaps any creature. Well, that would require further study, but invasive in any sense, and it may have actually seemed to have been for natural for this creature. It could be
Almost-
like a
Symbiotic or an evolution?
perhaps something akin to like a carapace, like you would see or like an exoskeleton, like you would see in some insects, or the hardened outer shell, a bone layer of like you would see in a turtle or something.
I
But
hadn't thought
instead
of
it's
it
a
like an
crystal.
adaptation. That's possible. That would make sense if these things are trying to live in harmony with the tower. If the Eighth Worlders made them like this, then maybe it was an adaptation to protect them. I'd be loath to say that they changing something is for its own good. Maybe whatever killed the Eighth World, maybe it was better to start fresh or not. Well, then again, maybe it's something else.
You would also know, just as general knowledge, the Moscara people, the sort of insectoid bipedal
Oh,
folks,
they are crystally, aren't
they are crystalline as well, and they're a recent, like quote unquote, arrival to Aerowen. Like folks just sort of in Terra in the northern region, floating island regions, primarily around Earth. Folks, they just sort of appeared one day.
I wonder if I've been looking at this too harshly. We should talk to our Moscaran friend back in the camp.
When we find a way out of here.
Right. I think that's what like snaps Nepalzin back into reality, because he's like looking at the frog. He's like, those chipmunks are sweet, dude. They got crystal spines. Dang.
I promise, Magnum and Sorkia in chat, they're not slod. I promise I didn't bring over D&D slod into this world. I like frogs. I just
I
very
just think
lucky.
they're neat.
I just think they're neat.
You're just neat.
But
Yeah.
if anyone else wants to try and figure out where the bird is, because right now you're hearing a whole bunch of different noises. Like right now, the light. It doesn't feel like a whole day has passed, but it's definitely like it's another full morning, and you arrived here probably in the afternoon.
Time shenanigans.
I was muted. Okay, so I have a. I don't have any skills that can help. I just look for this bird. I don't even have navigation really.
I could try to craft something.
Wait, does that bird attract shiny objects?
Hmm?
Because we have a bunch of shiny stuff.
Oh yeah, we do. I haven't seen it. Alright, give me a second. I'm gonna
Also,
see
yeah,
what's
no
in
one's actually
this
checked
duffel
what your
bag.
gear is. So, for the folks who are trained in understanding Numenera, let me pull up my handy-dandy cheat sheet to double-check the understanding the Numeneras. It's a crafting. It will take you about 15 to 20 minutes to try and decipher what these things are. And yeah, 20 to 15 minutes decide. There'll only be about a difficulty 2 task. Actually, difficulty 1, which would make it very easy to identify. So if you take the 15-20 minutes between the folks who do understand Numenera, you would be able to figure out what these are.
I also got these.
Let me pull up what
Training it.
Oh, you're trained in understanding Numenera. Yeah, so Craven, you would also understand what some of these are as well. One of them is what appears to be salvage graft,
Ooh, salvage graft.
level 6. So it's quite potent and it can be used as materials for other things if I remember my lore right. One of them, it looks like it's a small what's the Dragon Ball Z thing? It's the like capsule core size container that look like there's a small pill inside of it that you would understand it. This is called a knowledge enhancement,
Oh, good.
which I will get the specs for you soon on that. But the other ones, they look like mostly on the oddity end. One is you just see a very vibrant crystal that's humming. An aerosol can that when you touch the top of it, it sprays out sparkling paint that's hanging in the air. And there is a flute with buttons rather than holes, so you can play it without blowing into it.
This thing feels familiar for me out of character, but at the same time, I'm like, what is this thing?
I promise, Sorkia, I'm only leading them through the limited media references that I have available to me. But yeah, you have some neat stuff. One of it seems more for crafting related purposes. The other one, like if you were trying to understand something, if I'm remembering the correct exact thing, it would help on knowledge checks. Knowledge enhancement, Numenera. No, not that. Yeah, I'll get you that ability later, but I believe it just essentially gives you proficiency in a certain skill for like an hour or so. Forgetting off the top of my head, but as it stands, what do y'all do? Because you're just hearing a bunch of creatures and noises all around you.
I'm going to see if I can remember the sound of the bird. Maybe not like the exact same bird, because it's gonna be weird to hear your own. It's like gonna be weird to hear your own voice repeated back. But I remember. One second. What was that first bird that we came in on? I have their name. Huh?
Stormbird?
No, not the stormbird, but the first big bird with the Ghost Walker. One second.
Oh.
Let me.
Gull.
That was
Gullah Gullah.
Dunsburg, right?
I remember what the Gust Walker looked like. I can't remember what the bird one was.
Loftwing.
Holly.
What was it?
The name Condor. It's a condor.
Oh, the
Name
first one was the condor.
was
Yeah, it was an
condor.
Andean.
Yeah.
It was Andean, based off an Andean condor. So, because if anyone's ever looked at an Andean condor, they're fucking beautiful.
big.
They're also very big.
But they're beautiful.
They're gorgeous, and like many things in nature, beauty means they can kill you.
I want to
Yes.
see.
I am going to essentially, because that's going to be a sound
Oh, Andy.
that they may have heard. Also because, yeah, and gonna emulate that out. Basically make an illusion, an image of Tali, and just start speaking out into the forest. Hopefully, the whole hearing something potentially familiar. I mean, we flew in on Tali, so maybe Tali, and I don't think we actually figured out the name of this bird because I can't find it. Their name.
Oh, the one that you came into this point, as opposed to the
Yeah.
first bird that you were on.
I don't remember the bird's name that we arrived here on.
No.
But I do remember Tully, and maybe they interacted between us being dropped off and us leaving. So
I have to say this only because this is the kind of group that will get this joke. So what you're saying is all birds know each other, right?
Yeah. Of course.
Yes.
yes.
I watched your face journey on the friggin' condor thing. Kupo. It's amazing.
It was just happiness,
Majestic.
then fear, and then
Terrifying.
majestic. So you're like, wow, that's so pretty. Wow, that is really big. It's like, oh god, that could kill
Well, there
me.
was an image of the condor, like, basically, like, hovering over a wolf, and I'm like, God! I was just like, holy shit! So, that was horrifying.
Yeah.
Big boy.
You hear the sound. The sound is emanated. It's replicated perfectly. And I want to offer a GM intrusion
Mmm.
to Aerowen.
Yes.
Do it.
Give me.
So, are you taking it? Okay.
Just give it.
Take it.
So you hear one bird call, and it is the familiar call of the boat-billed heron that brought you in. However, for your intrusion, you also hear another bird call.
It's fine.
It's very big.
Napoleon claps Aerowen on the back. Hey, nice job. I know you don't really get around in this kind of outside, but that's really... Oh.
Is that something we should be worried about?
I'd like to identify that bird call.
Oh, it's you don't even need to identify. No, policy, that's very familiar.
Our birds did not sound like that.
Well,
Did they?
It sounded like the first one.
Napoleon, you might be congratulating Aerowen a bit too quick.
So
Oh, right. I should take that experience.
yes, one experience
And-
to you and one experience to someone else. As you do see the bolt-billed heron has flown down, and it's right next to y'all.
Napoleon, you can have that experience.
Oh, thanks. I'll be needing it.
And it seems to like rest up against Haroon for the moment. It just goes
Pet, pet.
pet pet, and then it just, and you have again, bolt-billed heron has big dip like mouth to it, like just massive big mouth. It's just right in front of you, and it just shows its happiness. And then you're the first one, right, as Napoleon is hearing that, to notice the bird also now looks kind of scared.
Is it visible?
You're hearing it. You're not seeing it.
We need to go.
If I
I told you guys it was too soon to congratulate him.
Craven, there are no pointing fingers. Let us go.
I never get congratulated.
Craven, Haroon, did you want to say something?
Okay, everybody, let's board this bird, get away from that bird, and hopefully find a way back.
How do you
Okay.
do that?
Okay, so how do we board this bird again? Does it come with a saddle on it?
It has a saddle and everything on it.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody on saddle.
It's just
I'm
think
gonna mount up on the front.
yeah, like think of it very Appa Avatar: The Last Airbender style kind of saddle. So it's like a big sort of almost ovular sort of riding saddle for it might be more for like a horse, but this is big enough to actually hold a few different people on it. So all of you can comfortably be on it, and there's rest along the side to hold on in case of turbulent conditions. Right as you're taking off. Just as you're out of eyesight, you see a very massive bird that is crackling electricity all around its joints. Arrive in the clearing that you found the boat-built heron. Does not currently see any of you.
Keep it that way.
Do you
So,
do anything else? Alright.
do we need to distract him, or do you think it won't notice us? Pausing?
It's a 50-50 chance. I think we're better off trying to move and then evading it in the air if it does decide to follow us. If we get the advantage now, it might not be able to chase us.
What is
Excellent
that thing
idea.
that's chasing us anyway?
I like the
It's
plan for not being able to chase us.
50, 60 foot wingspan. No, probably more. Giant bird that has around its joints mechanical portions. Around its beak, it has actually its beak is a little bit more like for anyone who's ever looked up the finches from the Galapagos Islands. This one has more of the like nut cracking end of the finches, so its beak is not long, but it's wide and dense, and it's mechanical. Also, as it's opening its mouth, it looks like there's little puffs of electricity coming out of it.
Oh,
I'm so glad none of us wear heavy armor.
oh yeah. Craven was asking Opalzi because he was thinking about using one of his skill to make something out of an IO room, a tool that wouldn't harm the bird, but it can distract it. Maybe like turn it into like a sound box like before, but different. That
Like a stun grenade or something.
Oh,
no, it's nothing that's harmful. It's just some a distraction that's just like
it would
maybe like-
disorient it.
yeah, like echoes, like maybe like echo someone screaming and falling down.
So-
If you can make anything that distracts that thing, I'd
Yeah.
love to have it on hand.
No, if you have a skill to do that, you have to give up the item you got, but
Worth it.
it avoids the 60-foot wingspan bird currently chasing after you.
I have 4 units of IO, and yeah, I
Okay.
can strike.
Okay. So I'm imagining it's like Craven, like I don't know why, because I've played Animal Crossing a little while ago. I'm imagining the like do-it-yourself workshop where you like tick 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 tick.
Yeah, yeah, puff of like puff of clouds just surrounds him.
And then it's like, ta-da!
Ta-da! This will keep you from dying. But
and then you just shook it, and then he just like, there you go.
it halfway through, for whatever reason, it just turns into a Wilhelm scream, and it's for Goofy, but that works too.
Yeah, I was just like, Goofy?
It's Goofy.
Are you saying you just killed Goofy?
Gorsh.
Or
Yuck.
Wolf.
You think God makes mistakes?
Somebody clip that! Somebody clip that, please! Somebody!
You think God makes this?
Sorry, gorge steaks.
Alright,
Yup.
trying to make a warm impression, but ended up with Goofy, and this is what I get.
Honestly, that feels pretty in character for Craven. He tried to make an impressive thing and it just became goofy.
It works though.
Yeah, it works!
It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to function.
Also, Simon, to take note in the chat, you made Sorkia snort in his curry.
Heck yeah.
Hope it's not spicy.
Curry goes in the
curry.
mouth though, not in the nose. Pro
Yeah.
tip.
Not spicy either.
Yeah,
To the
no,
wise.
That hurts bad. I know this from experience.
Damn, Haru. Oh no, Sunset. From experience.
I know this.
What does
I've
the
seen
bird
things.
look like it's doing?
Yeah, what is the bird doing? Speaking of.
If a bird could indicate a WTF expression, that's sort of what it has on its face.
Oh, good.
But you just see it. It's less it goes swooping, and it's more it like just because of how massive every movement just sounds like it's suddenly aerial like dog like dive bombing something and it just starts flying off towards somewhere else in the forest to go after the sound.
Just imagine that moment. It's just sitting in the clearing, minding its own business. Maybe there's some food in the area. Then suddenly hears that squawk. That'd be
Oh, God,
very
you're
busy
right.
day for this bird.
Oh god, I feel bad. You're right. I feel bad for every other bird that Craven has just endangered by doing this. To be 3 birds just on the floor. They're just like, squawk, 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 squawk. What have you all
Meanwhile,
done?
Raven up there, it's like he saw that happens, and then he just like crawls out to like kind of pause it, and just pat his shoulder, and just like, see, I did great. Why don't you compliment me like you did with that one? Do I not earn it too?
Raven, this was a great bit of ingenuity and creativity. Thank you.
I don't ask yours, I ask Napoleon, but thank you.
That was terrifying and also pretty sweet.
Aw, thank you, big guy. And he just pats Napoleon inside of it, and then he's like, see? Just compliment me once in a while. I saved you guys' asses, you know? A lot of times.
You hear
But
you hear off in the distance like a very loud frog croak. Then you also hear a bunch of birds.
Oh god, the frogs can fly.
oh lord.
Then you also, for anyone who's ever seen The Lost
they?
World, when they're up in the high and they're
Mhm.
just watching
Yep.
the trees just kind of
Yep.
fall, you're kind of seeing that a little bit off in the distance.
Well, I think we're out of the frying pan and into the fire here.
Well, I've saved you guys once. You gotta need me to cool down for a moment. I'm sorry, that's how it works. That's how fuel works.
That's in the trees. That's not in the air. Right now we're in the air. So technically, according to the law of stratification, we're fine because that problem is over Daresville and we're over Heresville. Over Daresville does not cross over to over Heresville.
I wish I shared your enthusiasm, Harun.
Oh, don't worry, we'll be fine. As I lean back into the saddle. It's
I'm not
gonna
sure
be
if-
gravy from here on out.
That optimism. Of
Yeah.
Go chill.
Yeah, boat built heron. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mule.
Oh god. So
I'm gonna be staring out the back and just keep a watch on the trees and potentially either very close by frog or very large frog because we're very high up in the air, and if we can hear such a loud croak, either that's a very large frog or the frog is right next to us.
I think Hanan would be doing the same as like both nanos are kind of just like
Like,
scanning
Oh.
and just going, what is that croak?
Guys, I really hope it's not the Frogzilla.
oh yes.
Frog hemoth, even.
oh, I was gonna go.
God, I appreciate you, Simon, so much. I was for a moment considering going full kaiju as a GM intrusion.
I
But
knew it. You were going
You
for the
should
front.
have.
I
Pacific Rim
no,
this
no,
shit.
the moment is past. The moment is
Damn
past.
it.
You are able to travel back. It is a calm flight.
I don't believe you.
There is it's a few hours of travel, and it's a lot of just sort of wait, like watching Nopalzine just direct the Heron for a fair bit. Just it's also a little spooked, so whatever Nopalzine does to care to calm down creatures, it seems to be taking a shine to whatever just kept it from being eaten by another bigger bird. But you fly for a few hours, and you watch as nearing roughly around dusk, still a bit off in the distance, there is the tower. The massive, the essentially tower or outpost that is the last main settlement in the north. It's sort of the last boundary before getting into where the fog wall was. But you do see that a little bit away from it, relatively speaking, it would take the rest of your journey into the night to even get to the outpost. But there is another floating island that is moved a little bit, and it's closer. You could probably get there right as dark is about to kick in. But it's your call if you want to just go to the one that's closer, or you want to head all the way back to the outpost.
Go all the way back to the outpost, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's where all our stuff is.
And restock is much needed.
Yeah.
And that's
And
where.
it's safe.
Yes.
How much farther or how much longer till the outpost? Does anyone know?
Couple more hours.
That sound about right, GM? Couple
It would be
hours?
like, it's the difference between you would get to the closer floating island that you can see that looks as though it has some sort of roughly 2.5 story tall building in it. It's hard to make out the details for it, but you do see that there is, people on it and life on that island. It would be the difference between, like, well, if you stop now, you'll end before it gets too dark. But if you keep pushing, you'll get maybe around midnight equivalent time to the outpost. Like, it's still it's like you're seeing on the horizon is what you're seeing for the outpost, because it's just a big structure, so it's kind of hard to miss, but it's still a bit of ways. So it's your call between the group.
I don't mind. I do not mind the extra time on the journey.
Yeah. Also, I agree. Also, even if we were to take and able to find rest, because that's not guaranteed on this closer island, whatever hours it will be between us landing and us waking up to move again, who knows how much farther away this island and the tower will be.
So what's the call?
Push through midnight.
I say we just keep going. But that's me.
Straight to the tower.
Is that okay with you, Harun?
Yeah, and I'll keep watch while the others go to sleep as needed.
Yeah. You do pass by a building from the island. You can still see it, get a decent past look of it. It's very it's gonna not mean that much, because if I say it's very Andean in design, but if you look up architecture by Freddy Mamani, he's a Bolivian Andean architect. There's sort of like prominent kind of open face lines to the way the structures and design of the building are on the outside. They're very vivid colors. They're like bright blues, like super bright
that's
sunlight
dope as
kind of
hell.
yellow. Yeah. Freddy Mamani. Anyone in chat wants to take the second to look that up, it looks as though it's an inn of some kind, and there's some activity, but swoop on by it, and it goes late into the evening. It starts getting pretty cold, but you manage to land on, once again, the tower outpost. This vast sort of watchtower with long, massive leaves growing out of it that are, each of them could be considered almost their own little like mini town. And as we are going to move into the break at this moment, as it's been a heck of a more exciting first half than I thought it was going to be, the thing I will leave you with is there appears to be a lot of a late crowd of travelers coming into here. And one thing that is familiar to one of your party members, there's just a little bit of festive music playing. And it's a tune that Haroon has not heard in a while since he left the troop.
Oh.
As you see, there are a few performers near the landing, and one of them spots your group as they land and waves over a hello. And that is where we're going to go to break.
Damn it.
Oh.
Oh. Haroon's passed.
Oh, don't worry. It's not dark, gritty or anything. It's not like that.
Uh-huh.
Some of one of those circus wars between mimes and clowns, and end up like a veteran of 1,000 different conflicts in pie-filled trenches.
Oh, by the way, also Kiki is there, Aerowen.
That metaphor ran away on me.
But we'll get to that after the break, so...
Wow.
Boy.
Okay. I don't know what's okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to do that because I wanted to see
I assume
how
that's bad, but
No. It's a good thing. But so, as we move to break, which is going to be about 10-15 minutes, want to again give thanks to all of our patrons in the host with the most. Hey, it's a long night. It's a long night. It's what I'm doing here. But our patrons from the host with the most tier, I will give the full shout out onto that one. Once we have Donald G, Nerdy T, Michelle T, Michelle E, and Andy T. Thank you all very much for supporting us, helping keep the lights on here, and just being a positive presence in the community from the financial end of things. And also there are many others who contribute to just help provide a space for us to tell these kinds of ridiculous stories where a group of adventurers get scared of wolf gem creatures. But with that being said, what's the other quick shout I need to do? There it is. A quick shout out to, while we head to break, why not head over to roll20.net/start/WTTP and sign up for your free account today. Over 4 million people use Roll20's virtual tabletop to power their favorite games, and with modules galore in the marketplace, you'll definitely find something for your group to enjoy. We will be back in approximately 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, just when our players are finally all collected and such. We will see you then as our group deals with a little bit of some circus pass and a good familiar friend. So, see you all soon.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If you get a second during break, you should check out one of our amazing sponsors. We're now proudly sponsored by Roll20, the best virtual tabletop for all your role-playing needs. Over 4 million people use Roll20's virtual tabletop to power their favorite games. And with more modules than you can shake a stick at on their new revamped storefront, you'll definitely find something for your group to enjoy. Sign up today by clicking the link below or heading to roll20.net/start/WTTP. Tabletop Loot is an amazing place to get your dice bags, dice boxes, and more. And now you can get 15% off your purchase at tabletoploot.com by using the code WTTPDICE at checkout. Tabletop Loot. Your party starts here. While you're at it, check out our so awesome merch store, So Nerdware. So Nerdware is the place to find all your Welcome to the Party merch and other amazing stuff too. Head on over to sonerdwear.com and use the code WELCOME at checkout to get 10% off your next purchase. So Nerdwear. It's what the nerds wear. Devin Rue, the amazing mistress of maps, has kindly supported the channel since the beginning and provides graphics for many of our streams. Head on over to rueinc.com to check out some of the best fantasy cartography on the web. Our Patreon supports the creators and producers of the channel by providing Roll20 subscriptions, cost coverage for video hosting, and more. If you want to support the channel while getting podcasts a week early, gaming articles that are published on Patreon first, a shout out during our break, and more, head on over to patreon.com/welcomepartyrpg and throw us a buck or five. And last, but certainly not least, help out the party. Subs and bits not only support the stream, but also every 500 bits or a tier 1 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a reroll or system equivalent, and every 1000 bits or tier 2 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a crit or system equivalent. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The game will be back in just a few minutes.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
should. Okay, just waiting to double check on the chat screen. It should have us back on. Yes, circus time. From reading the chat. Damn it, sensitive. But yes, yeah, everyone should be back in their right places. Huzzah! Hello there, everyone. Hi, how are you doing? Is your life well? Everything treating you alright? We're glad to have you here, regardless if anything is yay or nay on those. Welcome back to Aerowen, as our party has managed to escape some terrifying wolf-like gem creatures, as well as the fleshy giant rodents of unusual size, and also the reappearance of a massive stormbird through goofy and Wilhelmian-like screams being used and devised by the party members, and made their way back to the massive, almost druidically carved and designed tower outpost, in which massive leaves act as sort of landings in which whole mini little settlements and towns are sprung up alongside this massive tower outlook tower structure, in which the party, having landed late into the evening around midnight, have arrived to what appears to be the remains of some festive music going on, and encountering for two of the party members some familiar folks from their past. One for Harun, and the other for Aerowen. For Aerowen, he recognizes the individual as Kiki Sayono, a friend of from childhood who Aerowen has not seen in probably quite some time. It's been a fair bit, and Harun doesn't immediately come to mind who this individual is. You know they're familiar until you hear them talking. And you hear the familiar, somewhat grumbling and somewhat like scrappy attitude coming off of what is Ivolanti, our Gust Walker, who looks like a squat magnolia warbler, for anyone who would like to take a look at what that one looks like. But is just very squat, short, sort of like, I think we could have made more money if I'd gotten to perform just a little bit longer. And you're just sort of hearing Kiki just speak to the Gust Walker, who Harun, you now recall the name is Yuda, Yuda. And it's Kiki's sort of like, the last time you did that, we made less money. Anytime you perform too much, folks, it doesn't sell well. It's like, well, because you never let me play very long. It's just a very grumpy looking, like, squat little bird humanoid is just there, and they're just kind of like arguing, and there's a third individual there as well, who just seems like another, it's just a human. Those do actually exist in the world. It's just very relatively plain, sort of deep dark brown skin, very reddish sort of high cheekbones, somewhat salt and peppery kind of hair. He looks like he has relatively, like, it's still functioning, but it's kind of worn down leather armor. It looks like he might be sort of a guard or an additional, like, person hired on in a similar role to Nepalzine. Sort of like, alright, how long are you two going to talk? Because I would really like to sleep. I would really like to go to sleep now.
Yuta, my friend, what brings you down here?
And it's like a moment where the head of this bird's just been sort of, this Gust Walker's just been like scrunched in, and it just grows a couple of inches and pop up, and it's just sort of like, Harun, hello. And they're, how tall is Harun exactly? Again? 6 foot? Yeah, this person's 5'2" max. They're significantly shorter, so it's just like, hello. They're apparently as strong as Nepalzine is. It's a very, very, like, strong hug. And it's like very like.
Hug back. How's it been?
It's actually been pretty well. The troop's been doing. We have more of the folks who are just sort of getting set up for at one of the inns for the night, but yeah, it's actually been going well. We were kind of sad when you left.
Sometimes there's the call to adventure and the call of the head not wanting to meet the rolling pin.
And
Mother was very convincing that day.
yeah, as you say, as you say that, Aerowen, you do hear Kiki like sort of lean over and sort of say, "I think when he means the call of adventure, he means his mother." Like lines up right with as Haroon is saying that, and you know, if you don't mind, Bram, if you would like to help me actually figure out like give a description of what Kiki is, because I don't think we ever fully described like what she was when you sent me the notes on her.
Yeah, I remember. So she's fairly, it's like a fairly tall individual. I remember like short hair, and part of it you can see it's um there's intermixed in her hair. You can see these almost like these cables that just like drape down from her head, from parts of her head just down like long strands of hair, but it's cables, and and they all they all have just this almost cold like you can see these patches of frost almost that are on her hair, and like in the heat you can see they're just like little wasps, like wisps uh you know, when you have ice cubes, like they're just melting out in the sun.
Oh, so it's like a little bit of like so like
That
if it's when you're
evaporation.
like when you're out in the cold and like you breathe in and it just has that sort of like frosty gale kind of effect to it.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
just like almost like haloed around her head. um,
She
um
she has an outfit very similar to Yuta. They both actually appear as though they're performers of some kind. It's a very festive, almost jester-like kind of one, but it's a mix between jester and trapeze artist.
right, yeah, okay. Yeah, so like when I see, like, there's a moment where you're just like, you know, when you see somebody who you think is familiar, and you're just like, wait, do I recognize that person? Do I wait up, like, you know, you don't see somebody in a while and they're wearing something that you've never seen them in before or something. So you're just like, is that, so I don't want, like, from like just dismounting from the saddle, is go like looking at the group and just like, Kiki?
Aerowen, hello, hello, hello. It's just scrabbling over, and it's just like also a very big hug. Like
Yeah, just dismounts faster.
and it's a very happy, like it's a very happy expression on
Yeah.
Kiki's face.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give them like a really big hug, and just like, I haven't like I haven't seen you in, I mean, I didn't expect you to be up here. Last I heard you were uh where was it? By looking at one of the islands to the west, I believe.
Yeah, actually, this cruise picked me up a little bit while ago. A little while ago. Yeah, Yuta actually was the one that convinced me to actually join the group, cause yeah, there's been some weird stuff happening over in Hydros, like, and she like reaches into her bag, which has a almost like it's a lot deeper on the inside than you would expect it to be. And she like takes a second. She's like tossing out junk, and there's like half-eaten granola bars and stuff in there. It's like, no, here we go. And she pulls out, and she takes a moment where she lets her hair wrap around what she pulls out, so that it chills it a little bit, and you see it's about the size of a guava fruit,
Okay.
but it's a little bit more in the shape of a star. And when she breathes on, and when she lets the hair with the frost, it reacts and it starts blooming these tiny little red flowers all around it. That they look like if you squeeze them, there's little bits of juice that come out of it.
Oh, that's fascinating. I don't think I've seen one of that before. something strange going on in Hydros? What's going on there?
Well, the forest has just all of a sudden just had a whole bunch of growth in it. There's been like a whole bunch of other little like fruits and stuff that have been cropping up. Mind you, I've been working for a little bit actually to kind of see if I could get some things around there to grow myself. But nothing was really working until recently. Like up until about, I don't know, about a week ago, really.
Oh. I'm just now like going into my head like, I wonder what happened a week ago, and it just like immediately just Kiki knows like that's when my head is just going like, what, like timeline brain, what happened a week ago?
But yeah, Kiki just takes a second to say like, yeah. So I actually I'm not necessarily starting a business, but I'm trying to see if like this will take in different spots, and maybe other folks will want to like spread it around a little
That's
bit.
exciting.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it to grow because I've been hearing that there's been some other similar things happen in other parts as well.
Huh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it recently. The one of those big the stormbirds.
Yeah, there's this moment where it's like, yeah, we've had a few encounters with the Stormbirds.
And well, the funny thing is, they there's uh there's been a few other ones that have been sighted all around the different islands now, very recently.
Yeah, aren't they normally they aren't normally found anywhere up this far north, if I remember correctly.
No, there's normally other kinds of like birds and creatures that are found up here, but honestly, it's really amazing. Like just from like scientific sort of view, it's really fascinating to see how
Yeah, it
different
is.
things have grown out. And also like some of the birds, like most of the ones from downpour down south where a lot of them originate from, a lot of those let out like electricity and things like that. Some of the ones over in Luminara, they started shooting out fire. The ones over in Hydro seem like they can control water all around them. Like it's amazing. There's been just a whole bunch of new stuff growing, and it's just sort of like a litany of different things of just talking about that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
and then just like also starts talking about like, oh, and like maybe this and this, and just like
And
there's just like,
the whole time while that sort of conversation is happening, Yuda is sort of over with Harun, and is like, so new folks, new people, friends.
Friends, basically, we've been exploring and going on various adventures together. They are quite amazing at what they do, in all honesty. You see Aerowen talking over to the lady you were arguing with earlier. He
It's,
is he's an archivist and scient- a scientist, very knowledgeable in all of it. That over there is Craven, wonderfully energetic scientist and experimenter, as well as a gadgeteer. We have Nepalzine, who is probably one, probably the best guy that I've known, and a very even keeled individual. Very nice person, very nice person. He may seem like rugged and rough and whatnot, but really he's a nice guy and he only wishes for the best for everybody. And then we have Hanan over there. Hanan is, despite the way they look, not. They're very confident and assured of themselves. It's they also able to do something I think involves fire, but not sure if that's about to be there.
So it's a work in progress.
ah, well, you should have seen this one over here when he first started performing with us. Also, what you would call a work in progress.
Oh, I would love to hear stories of Harun.
Okay. To be fair, we did. Yes, I did go off routine, but that was merely a gravity-based malfunction.
Right? That's what
Hmm.
we're gonna call it. It was a malfunction. Right, that's what we're gonna call it.
That's what we always called it.
It's good to see you, Haroon. If you want to sit down and chat a little bit more, I don't want to hold you all up, and I'm sure Kiki.
Oh.
It's like it's just I'm imagining Ottawa and Kiki just over a little corner. It's just been going back and forth for a couple of minutes. There's rooms over at the inn if you want us to like check in and see if they have room enough for all of you. We can take care of the bird, or we might be setting out either tonight or just making sure that we can reserve something for tomorrow. But if you want to talk a little bit more later.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I mean, everybody doing well, you know. The strong men, the strong woman, the
No worries.
dancers, the acrobats, everybody.
It's good to see you. Well, I'll make sure I can pull Kiki away. And Nopalzine, while all of that has been going on, the third individual, who's the relatively average looking dude, has just been sort of like looking across sort of at you. And it's just like doing I'm imagining a less like blatant version of there's this little bit I remember from, I think it was like Full Metal Alchemist or something, where two like muscle men just like come into a bar and they like start flexing to like show like their sign of respect towards each other. But this is more like just like a even keeled like size up. Yeah, it's very much
The bathroom is
that way. But but like sort of walks forward and he's like, I think I heard about you before.
Anything good?
I've heard you managed to get a bunch of people safe a bunch of different times through Hydros.
That's what I do.
This isn't something I normally do, but you're Nepalzine, right?
That's me.
See him like pulls out like from the back of his like a satchel he's got on his back, like a little piece of like parchment, and he has like a tiny little quill on the side, and he just sort of like goes up like very close in personal space. He's like, can I have your autograph?
Yeah. He's like also matching his energy. It's like, am I gonna fight you? No, I'm gonna take this piece of paper, staring straight at you, and I'm just gonna. It's okay. He's not good at writing anyway.
He's like, and you get the sense from the way the guy looks at it, and he's approving of it. He's just kind of BSing that he also doesn't. It's also not his thing either.
Yeah.
It's
I'll do trail sign.
But like, it's good to meet you, Nepalzine. I trust you've watched over, just sort of looking over in like Ottawan's direction, of just like nerddom happening over there. Pleasant conversation to everyone.
I feel like
else.
he's learned at some point like what people say in this situation, because he's totally just like mirroring what this guy's putting down. He has no context for how to interact. So like, as he's doing this too, he's like, yeah, who am I making this out to?
You're making it. We'll give the name Arturo. So Arturo. Arturo.
Arturo, my friend. He puts the paper back in his hands. I'm just a guide. I'm honored that you asked for my mark. But you too are a hero to the people in your life. You remember that.
I just feel like I had an after-school special hero moment.
And I feel like he's just like, hey.
like full, like I don't even know.
Over dramatic flexing as he gets the autograph. He's like, flex, 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 sign, flex, 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 pass, flex, flex.
It was more just to give the tonal element, but it also amuses me that that's one variation of how that could have gone. They're just like, so, how's it going? So, heard you're pretty awesome. But yeah, no. Yuda will again pipe up and mention to Arun, like, yeah, if you want us to just sort of get you some rooms and stuff, and we can chat more in the morning. I mean, there's some food left. There's some food that they haven't finished working on a lot of the stew from the night's dinner. If y'all are hungry.
Wait, they didn't finish all the food?
No, they keep a couple of extra in case some folks come in kind of late.
Oh. Okay.
People come in at all hours. It's not like we have regular hours over here. People are traveling all the time.
I expected you guys to clean them out.
And point taken. There's like that there's almost like a, you can see in Yuda's head, they're almost like in their head doing a like one for Haroon, one for Yuda sort of mark, but now they have to put it in the Haroon category. They're like, damn it. It's like, all right, fine. Well, if you want to get any of the food that's left over, go on ahead. I have to make sure Kiki, stop with the talking and the...
There's a wall now. There's a wall next to them. And there's just like images.
Good luck, Yuda, as I pat him on the back and proceed over to
But it comes to... Eventually you see Arturo also just kind of get like, people talking. I'm just, all right, this is enough talking. Just sort of like pulls both of them away, and they just, you see Kiki just sort of wave to Aerowen and wave to Haroon, but they let you know that there is that they would happily meet up with y'all the next morning at the inn, in sort of the like dining room equivalent of the inn, when folks are ready to go in the morning. But yeah.
Okay. The inn, nice and quiet. We could use quiet for a while. An 8 hours long while.
In 8 hours long. God damn it. I need a rest for a long time. Specifically 8 hours worth of rest. But no, if y'all are ready, if there's nothing else you wanted to talk about or anything like that, you can sleep for the night and take your first appearance. I'm sorry it took so long during so many sessions. A long rest, so you recover back to full up on your pools and everything. And as a note, Craven, because that image projector thing, that is a cipher, it was a one-time use, so it looks as like you still have the tech. Well, actually, you don't have the tech because you chucked it out. So yeah.
Don't worry. Yeah.
Yeah. Just,
I purposely do that because I already got a lot of ciphers on me, like the pill, 2 Crafter's Eye. What else do I got? Jesus, I'm hoarding all this. Instant item. Yeah. And the salvage grab, that's 5.
Oh.
I can only take 4.
If you keep 5, something interesting will happen.
Oh, Lord.
That's a thing that I haven't tried to focus on too much because I haven't been giving ciphers in too much bulk. But just as a note, if you carry around too many, things happen. But so the evening before y'all are able to take the long rest, you are able to tuck in quite comfortably into the fare that is not the fare, the food. Oh, it's technically fair.
Fair.
It's fair. Works on far too many levels. There is almost it's kind of base, think curry-esque. There's a very sharp citrus kind of note to it, and you'll note that even the cooks who are finishing up, like re-preparing a little bit of it, there's almost like these jars floating, metallic jars that are floating that look like preserved lemons are inside of it, and it looks as though for whenever the stew's running out, they've used it as a base to help restart the stew all over again. And it's, let me double check, what did I say? There's a very intense smells of like ginger, cumin, turmeric, saffron, paprika, little bits of cinnamon on different things. There are these little bits of kind of, think in the range of Hawaiian sweet roll kind of size, but they're filled with kind of a saltier, harder kind of cheese in the center of them. And there's a sort of a nightcap. There is basically, I'm just gonna say it's atole. For anyone who's ever had atole, it's atole, and there's also offering of, you see, there's various petals of a deep black, a purple, almost kind of black tinged petaled flower that is essentially, it's hibiscus root flower, so it's the basis for essentially making Jamaica. So they offer that as sort of a sweet nightcap for folks. Oh, I think we've had. Oh, Magic and Modifiers is hosting a stream with one viewer. Hello there. Lovely to have you joining us. You are wonderful with the raid. You're much appreciated. Thank you. You're tuning into a moment of us, of our folks, our party, just tucking into a nice sort of curry kind of stew and some nice cheesy, salty cheese-centered bread rolls with little bits of atole and hibiscus flower offered as an additional sort of sweet nightcap. But the party is able to long rest. Your pools are back up the top. You are fully recovered after so much.
Nice.
And the next morning, oh wait, I still get so disoriented seeing the Gutank's face whenever the raid happens. It makes me so happy to see it. That meme. I hope it never dies. But the next morning arrives. There are 6 individual rooms that are available if folks didn't want to like double up. The beds are comfortable. It looks as though the pillows are filled with feathers, massive feathers inside of them that likely were gathered from various sources, and the patterns on the actual blankets and such are hand quilted and hand woven, and it looks as though even something as small as the blankets of the inns here have a similar sort of theme that a lot of the way stations do, of telling stories. Like each of the different blankets aren't like a standardized blanket or quilt. It's its own little story, and it looks as though it might even be talking about some of the conversations or events that have happened at this little inn on one of the leaves of this massive tower outpost. There's depictions of people having coffee, people drinking juices, people laughing and smiling together. And the morning arrives. There is a smell coming from the kitchen of fried goods. You see, there likely has been some goods shipped in over from Terra and somewhere from Numenera and from Hydros as well, as you see that there are some plantains being fried. There appear to be some bananas and some, looks like, powders and tinctures that I would say Nepalzine and Aerowen would recognize as being taken from the barks of various trees. There's fresh coffee that's brewing. There's bits of tripe stew that's being cooked, and there are also there is a robust smell of eggs, which you're seeing someone is slicing up and going through the very careful process of actually cutting up and preparing bits of cactus to actually mix in with the eggs themselves. And there's plentiful spices, it's cooked just to the right amount, where it's somewhat on the creamy side, but not too like liquidy. The nopales are mixed in, and it's available for folks for however much they want to eat. It's just little kind of tavern-esque kind of space. That's the main sort of dining hall / open kind of cafeteria space, and this is the morning.
Is the circus crew up and at them eating right now?
As of yet, no. You just see that there are some gust walkers who are roaming around, a couple of blue jays, a raven or two. There are a few Moscaran people. There are some mosquito bipedal humanoids. There are a couple of soldier ant-esque kind of bug humanoids, and there are occasionally a few just general humans who are just all around and such. But it seems like it's pretty open conversation. Folks are really enjoying themselves, and the food is in big either pots or containers, or is available behind a little station area, sort of, again, think kind of cafeteria style-esque, where folks can like get served and then go and find their spots. It's a pretty robust inn, pretty sizable. It looks like it can hold a decent amount of people. Again, same Freddy Mamani's architectural style to it. But it's a welcoming sort of place.
I get little bits of everything. Hanan has never really had like this rich amount of food. Their usual is like pretty plain. So like to have like this varied, all these tastes, like it's like galaxy brain right now. Like they didn't know food could be like this.
Big brain moment.
Person, but yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Nepalzin's definitely used to eating whatever he can get on the trail and like being out in the wilderness for so long. But he does come back to settlements to like rest and re-up, and I think that's when he just like unhinges his jaw and just like
No.
like a snake, you know. It's just like,
Oh my god.
Consume.
on the trail, like, what? I killed this rabbit. I'm gonna eat it. I caught this fish. I'll just grill it over a fire. I got these berries. I got these mushrooms. I can cook. He can cook. He can
I'm
make
sure
things that's tasty.
Hanan sits next to Nepalzin and just like eyes bug out as they see the jar.
Oh yeah, it's the study in contrast. It's like, well, I don't know how to process this, and then Nepalzin's like, I don't care how to process this. I'm just give me 3 of these, and 2 of these, and 1 of these, and I'll have put this on top of this. It's not a sauce. Okay, just smash it down, and then pour it over.
Yeah, Haroon, Aerowen, Craven, what is your approach to breakfast of champions?
It is similar to Aerowen's approaches. Similar to Hanan's, it just like takes a little bit of everything, but then goes back to the stuff that they know that they particularly enjoy and just like take a little bit more of that.
I like this. More.
This is okay. I still have a good chunk of it.
Yeah. And it's...
Sample everything, in all honesty. Nothing to... I mean, again, adventuring, exploring for the experience, and why not experience everything?
Yeah, it's probably used to, like, having had a
Traveling
sense of,
and
like,
eating,
pretty
all that
decent
stuff.
exposure. And with the troop, like, you'd probably have gone around a lot of the different locales and islands and such, so it's like...
Set up a few foods, have a palate cleanse in between, and then same thing, like a seafood palate cleanser, seafood palate cleanser. Like, I guess palate cleanser would be something like a bread or even just straight up water.
Yeah, you do see there are some, like... I can't think of an exact example, but just for the vibe, I think akin to sort of how kind of like Korean barbecue sort of stuff can have like the intense kimchi or other sort of like more spicier end kind of things, and then they have other vegetables that are like the palate cleanser to like clean out, like with ginger and things like that. And there are also like, I'm just gonna say there's basically tortillas and like various similar sort of like grain and or flour based sort of things. Well, actually, oh god, is this where I start? Is this where I start the controversy of flour versus corn tortilla? Do I re-employ this?
There's something I know that I think you would like. I gotta ask my parents what the name is, and it's something. It's a desi dish that like a really delicious little circles of reddish, tortilla-ish something. I'm gonna have to ask, and I will definitely
I
let
think
you
I
know.
know what you're talking about. I'm also... Oh, hell, I'm trying to remember. I think it was a... Oh, it was a South... I think it was a South Indian dish. It's not omelet.
Starts with a P. That's all I know right now. The rest of mine is drawing the blank.
Yeah, but essentially, yeah. That is also available just because I can will it to be. Because that's my favorite part about being a GM. It's not even creating a world. It's just, hey, you know that food you've always wanted to have? There. Your character can have it. But yeah.
Just like lying at the table and suddenly it's full.
But yeah, Craven. Is Craven just tucking in?
Alright, so how's the room, the breakfast room are like?
Think very open cafeteria. There's a lot of kind of circular tables. It's a pretty expanded, because the actual building is about 2-3 stories tall, but the first sort of floor is the left side of it is very expansive for the actual rooms that are being used. Whereas the second and third floor, it looks like it's almost like a converted home in some ways, but it still has that same kind of architecture. So it looks like second and third floor are more, excuse me, for the folks who actually run the place. And then the right side of it is more the kind of like cafeteria, kitchen-esque kind of range of stuff. So it's a lot of open space. Like y'all could have your own individual table and it wouldn't be hard to like pull another table across.
But everyone is already like grouped up together, right?
Yeah, folks are. There's not that many people. Like it's not like early in the morning because I kind of assumed y'all would sleep in after everything.
We sleep like a rock.
Basically, it's.
But I imagine like Craven just like tailing behind the group while with like a book in hand, just like writing through it, writing some ideas and what he's gonna do. And then while he's at it, he's like just grabbing something, like just like scooping everything that can fit in his plate. And then once everything is done, he just like sits right next to anyone and then put his plate over there and then close his book, put it down, start working on his shit, and just like while he's working on things with his dirty hands, he's just gonna grab whatever food is in front of him and just stuff it into his mouth like a freaking kid he is. Like a kid playing Lego while eating mashed potatoes with his hand. That is what Craven is.
Like a kid eating mashed potatoes, playing with Legos is a description I don't think in 2 years of being a GM I've ever heard uttered, and that
There
might.
it is.
There it is. Yeah, there it is. And I'm gonna say, just because Craven's not paying attention, there's an occasional moment where you accidentally grab a fruit that you don't realize is taken from a cactus bulb. Because you specifically said you weren't paying attention for the whole thing.
This fruit is a bit needly.
And then you actually look and you see, like, you grab the part that hasn't, you have to peel it off entirely first.
And he just used his teeth just to pull it like, oh, alright, there you go.
I feel like I want to make you take might damage just because, but I won't. But it's an amazing start to the day. Someone chomping on cactus fruit and potentially.
Let's be honest, that's his karma for talking shit all the time. That's his karma.
You know, I'm not going to disagree with you on that one.
Even as a player, I see this as his karma. It's like, you deserve this, buddy.
But, did you have... I'm gonna laugh right there with you, so swear about. Did you have something you wanted to say, Aerowen?
I just checking in, like, so while eating, it's like there's that moment, like when Craven just goes to grab it, the spiky, like Aerowen's like just like to say something, but you've already taken a bite out of it. It's like, never mind. So just like looks to the group, like, so do we want to go and find Gustavo after this?
We should also
Doesn't make sense.
get supplies too.
Well,
Excuse me. Whew.
I'm sure that'll come with talking to Gustavo.
Dr. Gustavo, lay out what the layout is. I need a better way to word this. I'm an acrobat. I'm not a wordsmith person.
A talker. That's a talker. Aha. It take out like a nail.
It went from a needle to a nail. That's an increase in severity we might want to address.
Do we need to get a doctor?
No, you don't need a doctor, okay? I take this off.
Was this
Raven,
one of those moments
Raven,
where
can we just see
no
if you
one?
have any more needles in your mouth over there?
No, don't worry. This ain't the first time. This ain't the first time it's on. I tried
And
like
that worries me.
eating nails.
Craven, do you mind rolling me a might defense
Yeah.
difficulty 3?
Okay.
Because for anyone who knows about cactus juice, it's the quenchiest.
Oh, it is the quenches.
We're gonna
Oh,
see
wait.
how this goes. Because
Oh.
I didn't expect someone to just chomp. I was like, I didn't expect him to keep eating it.
And GM intrusions. I'm dead.
What you get?
So it's
One.
A GM intrusion.
so. I might actually be at a loss for what to add as an intrusion for this. Cause
Raven
Was
is
it-
never seen again.
So, the food that Craven was eating, or was it his work that he was eating?
Yeah, how is it in the food?
Lord.
that's
Because
so
you know how when
good.
you're like working, like say like you're painting and you have your glass of water and then you have your paint water and you go to grab to drink, but you
Oh my
don't
God.
grab your mug, but you grab your paint water. Something
what?
similar. Craven is
It's
working
not-
and
It's not
Eating.
it's not the cactuses. It's like, do you know one of those tomatoes bag with like needles on it, and instead of like needles, there's like nails on it.
No, but I also really like Ottawan's idea. That, like,
Yes.
just the first thing was like a problem, but it wasn't that big a deal. Like you got startled, but because you haven't been paying attention, you grabbed a segment of your work in your notes and you've been chomping on your own notes.
This ain't the first time, fellas. This ain't the first time.
Wow.
You know what? I can actually believe that Craven has done this on multiple occasions. But so Haroon had mentioned Gustavo. Did anyone else want to? Well, Haroon and Adawan actually had mentioned. Wait, Adawan had mentioned Gustavo.
Mainly out of one.
Yeah, mainly Adawan had mentioned Gustavo. Did anyone else want to add anything to that thought?
No,
The-
Gustavo's good.
Okay.
well, at least as a starting point.
You are able to tuck in, and there is a. Let's see. Where are my? No, not that one. Not that one. There is a white-winged dove, Gust Walker, who helps come and take care of some of the food and just sort of like directs you all to a spot where you can set it down where it'll be washed. It seems as though there's kind of a rotation between folks. Like it's sort of a you get this and pay it forward through some other capacity kind of basis where it's like if you can come back at another time during the same day to provide something to help with the place, they'll be fine with like cleaning up the mess after this point, providing the food. It's part of how folks just try and keep sort of the communal responsibility going. And it looks as though there's a few other folks who just volunteer to just cover for you all so that you are kind of scot-free when it comes to handling that. But you're able to take essentially the internal druid elevator up to the appropriate leaf. Yes, thank you, Bram. That was the best physical description of it. And you are able to come upon a familiar residence of Gustavo, who I believe, let me pull it back up somewhere here. Where's Gustavo? Look like Gustavo. The woodgnat appearing Moscara individual who sort of like is. It looks as though he's in the middle of talking to someone else, just some random woman who seems to be chatting with him about like some find she's had, but he sees you on and he's like, oh, all right, hello. You've all returned. That was a lot quicker than I expected.
Hello,
So,
Gustavo.
hello, Haroon.
we have returned, thankfully, and I'm glad to see that the words quicker than expected were used, considering that I appreciate the confidence in our survival, seeing as no one has come back from the pleasant journey before. So, yeah, no, thanks for believing in us. We really appreciate that. That kind of
And I mean, to be honest, after a week had gone by, I was kind of wondering whether or not I was going to have to send out someone else.
A, a
Oh.
week?
Oh?
No, I'm just messing with you. I mean, what are you talking about? You've been gone. Like, you came back in about a day or two. Like, that's pretty impressive.
We underestimated. Well, no, supply wise, it was best to come back. Unfortunately.
There's a lot in there.
And considering
Yes.
what was in there, a week disappearing for a week, I guess, wouldn't have been the most surprising thing.
True.
See very big bug eyes with little, like, very thin, wispy kind of eyebrows and like glowing gem parts, just sort of like, and it's like when folks talk about like their brows are sort of furrowing, his just sort of the gem coloration just sort of darkens and is just sort of like, what happened? Why don't we take this inside? This is gonna take some explaining, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of explaining to do, and and he just like cough up like a freaking screw that he ate. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, it's going to take a lot of explaining, maybe an hour or two.
All right. Any of you care for a baked good?
I would.
Just for him. I'm good.
Alrighty. Actually, this is more in the dessert kind of range, but we'll just say it's a baked good version of it. Is that? Yeah, there it is. One tiny second. I'll pull up the link for this in the description. There we go. Yes. That's what it is. Apologies for that. He takes you into his home and he offers, again, coffee all around to folks, because it's a little bit of travel just to get up the tree and everything and find his specific residence. The home is relatively decent means. There's there's decent furniture. It looks as though he has a few nicks and odd ends. There's a couple of strange floating glowing sort of objects. It looks as though there's a container where it's almost like instead of a pantry where you might be like keeping long-term goods, he has a couple of floating devices that look as though they have various kinds of soups and different things where he could just pull one from out whenever he's hungry and just sort of pour it into a container to make food for himself. But he's like, no, here we go. There. And he takes you see him mixing around a couple of things in a bowl, and he eventually sets aside in a small portable little oven to bake what comes out. I don't even know if this necessarily has to bake and such, but I'm going to say this world's version of it does. He makes, for anyone who wants to look up the name of this, it with flour, honey, almonds, hazelnuts, and dulce de leche. It's called an alfajor. It's a Peruvian sweet dish. And it's kind of crumbly. It's almost like the design of it is almost like two wafer kind of cookies, but there's sweetness and kind of condensed milk that's kind of coalesced and like made an outer layer to it, and then the center has another more concentrated batch of that and honey and hazelnuts mixed into it. But yeah, he's like, so
Okay.
Where do we begin?
Other one, would you like to? Because you do have you're probably the best at detailing this stuff.
Right. So this is what we discovered beyond the fog up north, and I'm just going to create a very small model image of the temple, and I'm going to let it move. So we found this. It is a temple. Well, this is what it looks like. It dates back to the 8th world. Yeah. There's a lot of information we found there. We found there are archives, and there are rooms of meditation in there. There's a lot of knowledge there that has been archived from the 8th world, apparently preserved in spite of the cataclysmic events that ended it and began the 9th, our world. It is, I'm just like, as Ottawa is just like, as they're talking, they're just like, they're replacing that image with images that they have remembered and recalled of the temple, inside the temple. When they talk about the archive, they do a small little miniature diagram of the Shadowplay archives. There is such a collection, a repository of knowledge, so much that can be learned. And they're open. There are caretakers, there are archivists who are there taking care of all of this knowledge. People from, well, they preserve, they take care, they catalog the knowledge, and they've said it's open for anybody, although you do have to prove yourself that you are worthy and able enough to understand this knowledge. There are tests to just get hold of it, and there's just so much. For example, they replace it with the image of the big rhino-like creature. They have ways of creating these images that are so lifelike, right, No Paulson? I mean,
It's like they were really there.
and
Are they... And sort of looks to Nepalzine for that one. Are they dangerous in terms of the creatures?
Well, some of the things in the archives, I'm sure we saw some things that were beautiful. But then there's other things that are in the tower that are moving around. And I don't know if they were from the archives or if they lived there or what. That's unclear. But there's dangerous things there.
and
And it's changing them. Or they've been changed by something in the past. Still don't know.
or maybe that's how they were.
Yeah,
I
before things changed.
I gonna do this. What? I would like to spend 3 XP for a for a long-term benefit. In that we never did figure out. I don't think we ever mentioned where that frog noise came from. And at
Back
this
to the
moment,
goddamn frogs.
and at this moment, as they're discussing this, I'd like for a frog croak to come out of Adawan's backpack.
Okay.
In that I'm just saying that there may have been, like, with all the creatures and animals, they may have been a stowaway on the bird in the backpack.
That wasn't what I had originally planned with this thread. That was going to be a throwaway. I like this, therefore, and it's more interesting. Therefore, let's go with it.
Okay.
There is a frog in the bag.
Yeah.
It is still about the same size that Nopalzine picked up earlier, which is only let's say more about the range of a cat. which is still pretty big for a frog, but
Yeah.
the actual croak that emanates out of said frog is much bigger than its actual size. All right.
That wasn't me.
I gathered as much.
It came from your area, in your vicinity, Aerowen.
Oh God, I just realized something wonderful about this too. So the frog peeked its way out of your bag.
Oh.
Aerowen, do you happen to recall what the frog was eating when you were in the forest? It was going after flies and bugs.
Oh boy.
Guess what your employer in this moment looks like? He's just a very big bug.
Right. Yeah.
Wonk. You just see him. It's the equivalent of like if you were on a date with someone and then suddenly you just like dumped a tray of food accidentally on them. It's about that level with you just see this gem encrusted tongue just hit him on the face.
Hey boss, I think the frog likes ya.
Just gonna like. That's why my bag has been feeling a little heavy.
You think?
Oh my.
Well,
Gonna take a ride and just wipe off the frog saliva.
sort of does one of those. It's like,
So I suppose we also now have a.
Mascot.
I was gonna go and say
Stowaway?
Stowaway from Beyond the Fog.
Oh please, that's what you called me before, and look what I become.
like the idea that Craven wasn't actually part of the party. He's just there. The party's just like, well, he's here. We got to make use of him somehow.
I'm sorry, that just came out of me. I feel like he will say that just for the fun of it. I mean,
No worries. But
he could be a stowaway. He could not be. The possibilities up there.
so, for the sake of it is getting close to our end time, and I do actually want to try and get us closer to like getting out on time. He takes a moment. Gustavo takes a moment. He's like, you know, if you talked to me a day or two ago, before you came in today with all this, I would have said it was weird, impossible, and there's no way, even with what's happened in this world, that could be the case. But I have been hearing some stories from folks. Never really got the full details. Wasn't trying to pry too much. Something's been growing over in Hydros. There's been new plants. There's been new folks going out on expeditions over there just to try and investigate all the plants and new creatures that are showing up. There's been new stuff happening over in Numenera, and a lot of the heat zones that folks have gotten used to just charting between the safety zones, they're kind of shifting around a bit. And wouldn't you know it, the way the fog parted over here up north, portion of the storm walls come down too, down south.
Oh, that might have been us.
Coming undone.
When did that happen?
Well, it's just story. Folks have been saying like something's started moving down the wall, like it's starting to come down, But the whole thing shifts, so I didn't put that much thought into it. I just thought folks are just coming up with stories, but with all the weird stuff you're mentioning, I don't know. Maybe I should give it more thought. I don't know. I heard all this from someone named Sadia. Yeah, she was looking. I think she was looking for one of you a little while. Like, she might have left out yesterday.
Are you familiar with this person? You seem. Seem that name is familiar to you. Is all.
Yes, no, the name's familiar. The name is familiar. Thanks for the warning. So, ladies and gents, are we ready to head? Are we ready to head south? There's
Well, we still have
time
to.
to waste.
Well, I don't think we're quite ready yet, Harun.
We still have to debrief the rest of the temple information.
Yes.
Gleaned from the temple.
Let's get that done. We have a tight schedule, so let's get that done. Then we'll forward the bird and be on our way.
Oh.
Trust me, I know what I'm doing. I'm professional.
Ah, man, you've been doing pretty badly for a professional. Not gonna lie, man.
And on that burn, and the acknowledgement from the original guide the original person who hired you, Gustavo, to go on this expedition, of him revealing that Harun's mother, Sadia, may in fact be involved in some of the growing developments around Aerowen. That is where we're going to close tonight's session. Congratulations.
Family drama!
This is how the story continues. It's
internal panic.
Externally, perfectly fine. Internally, screaming. As one should when they hear that their mother might be involved in something. But I'm gonna do all the spiel and everything, but I just want to say thank you to everyone who followed, subbed, hosted, rated, or were just awesome and active in the chat. It's always a pleasure to have so many different folks just wanting to tune into our show and see this little world I've been working on and all the wonderful things that everyone here brings out of it, like apparently scanning frogs and Tachyron avoidance strategies and nat 20 stealth rolls that doesn't make any sense. But remember, for folks who are still tuned in, be sure to check out the Discord, Patreon, and merch over at So Nerdware and checking out Roll20. We don't have anything else coming up tonight, so this is going to be the end of our show and the whole process. But I am going to start looking for someone to raid. So while I do that and I attempt to maintain the semblance of a professional, if folks want to go around, say who you are, where folks can find you on the interwebs or other shows and such, pitch your work, any of that kind of stuff, feel free to do so, and I will go last. So anyone, while I work and find us a channel to raid.
Sure, I'll go first since I started first. Hello, I go by Kupo Knight around the internets. You can find me on Twitter at Kupo Knight, KUP0KNIGHT, and Discord Kupo Knight. I am a player on Aerowen, obviously, but you can also find me here at Welcome to the Party on Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard, where I will be playing. I play in a Star Wars Let's Play using the airlock system. And that is Thursdays, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard. When I'm not doing that, I stream on my Twitch channel, Kupo_Knight, KNIGHT. Schedule is going to be a bit weird this week because I am starting work again. I'm off furlough, so it's going to be a little wonky. But yes, I usually play like video games and story intensive stuff. So that's it for me.
All right. Yes, I'll go. So yeah, you can find me This is Bram. You can find me on the internet at Defiatos. You can also find me here in this little box at this time frame and time zone for as a player on Aerowen, as we all can clearly tell. And yeah, you can find there's links to my website and my work on Twitter at Defiatos. I am a freelance sound designer.
Sweet. I'll tap in. My name is Simon. You can find me on Twitter at LuchaLibris. You can check out my game designs at colorspraygames.itch.io. There's a variety of different games of different styles for one player or more. If you are looking for some new role-playing content, I'd appreciate it if you checked it out. You can find me this week. I will be GMing a Monster of the Week game at 8 p.m. Eastern on Welcome to the Party right here. I will also be doing a panel on Thursday the 9th at 7 p.m. over on the Hutopia channel, the debut of the new Hutopia channel. I'll be on a panel about hacking games to create your own original designs. So go check that out, 7 p.m. Eastern, Hutopia. Sunday at 3 p.m. I will be wrestling on All Nerds Here, playing the Worldwide Wrestling game RPG, which is a fantastic time. 3 p.m. Eastern, All Nerds Here, Twitch. And then 8 p.m. Aerowen. And in addition to that, if you're looking for a game to play during this time, I'm the GM for Magpie Games Curated Play Program, magpiegames.com/curated-play. Sign up for a couple of bucks. You can play a game like Bluebeard's Bride, Masks, even the Root RPG at the end of the month. A few bucks gets you a ticket to play with a professional GM like myself or many other fantastic people.
Okay, so I am Sasso, and you can find me here on Aerowen, as well as on Discord for one party where I have the same name. That's pretty much it.
Right, then guess I'm the closing one. Well, yeah, my name is Noah. You can find me at Orenrune at Twitter, and that's pretty much where you can find what I'm currently doing, what I'm currently up to. I retweet all the stuff there. And well, you can also find my Twitch channel at Orenrune 2 with the same name. I was thinking about doing some live stream games nowadays because weekends really gets boring for me and I really gotta do something. But yeah.
Alrighty, and I think that brings it to me for this case. Hello there, everybody. I'm Angela. I do a lot of things. You can find me on Twitter at Phoenix24Fem, Patreon, Philosopheme, where I do writing, primarily poetry, but some documents that are posted up there in regards to the lore for the first world I created of Agni, which I'm going to be updated as I'm switching over a lot of the system to more personalized and less D&D-esque material and more compatible with the Quest RPG system. You can find me here Sundays doing Aerowen, or on Mondays as part of the Ryutama campaign Dreams of Dragons. And also, I am one half of the Queerly Yours podcast. I am a professional writer and part of the QT-POC online writing collective of Art for Ourselves, which I'm going to be working on an article for that for our summer equinox edition that's going to be coming out late July, where I'm going to be responding to The Last of Us 2, because I apparently want to make my life more difficult. But, as a quick little spoiler thing, I haven't told too many people, but I'm actually working on my first game, on designing and creating something that the tagline is, it's inspired heavily by For the Queen and Search for Christopher Robin. So yeah, that's a thing. But that is me. Thank you very much to everyone who tuned in. We know that the whole scene has been very difficult, and everything right now in the world is just overwhelming. Thank you for joining us for the scanning of frogs, the running away from Tachyrons, the reuniting with friends and new individuals, escaping from a storm bird, and just respectful himbo energy, as such things are sometimes